I write a tune about corruption and greed. A minister shaking down people in need. Next thing you know, my song get blocked. Say it too hot, might cause a shock. They tell me hush, go change the line, or face defamation, you cross the line. Now before I sing about truth or wrong, I need a lawyer to vet my song. Vet my verse, check every rhyme. It's like singing now become a crime. Say the truth but don't name. Else you're blacklisted from the fame. Radio say we can't play that, but the jamming soca about gun and bat. So who running the station show? Only the PM know. My partner sing one about tax and bribe. Next day he gone, cancel he tried. They say it's slander and liable talk. Now the poor fella frightened to walk, but dance all blasting every night, singing about murder and gunfight. Yet high so man must mind his tongue, like with a problem all along. Let me verse, check every rhyme. It's like singing now become a crime. Say the truth but don't name. Else you're blacklisted from the film. Radio say we can't play that, but the jamming soca about gun and bat. So who running the station show? Only the people. The culture roots lie in we voice to talk the things and make real noise. But now them say tone it, don't be sweet, while injustice dance in the people's street. The pen might tear down, so they say, but they want to dull it every day. Freedom of speech, more like a loan that they pull back once truth get known. They tell me no Calypsonians must learn. Before you sing, go get legal concern. Line by line, draft by draft, watch lawyers edit out the craft. You can't call name, you can't say crook. Better you write a nursery book, but satire dead if we can mock. It's like the watchdog Lucy back. Let me verse, check every rhyme. It's like singing now become a crime. Say the truth but don't name. Else you're blacklisted from the fame. Radio say we can't play that, but the jamming soca about gun and bat. So running the station show, only the players back. So let we rise and defend the art. Censorship tearing the soul apart. If Calypso lose its sting and bite, who go shine the people plight? Not every song is meant for fet. Some just wake you up when things get wet. So I go sing loud till my breath done. Cause truth in rhythm can't be outrun. Let my verse check every rhyme. It's like singing now become a crime. Say the truth but don't name. Else you're blacklisted from the fame. Radio say we can't play that, but the jamming soca but gun and bat. So who running the station show? Only the PM know.
True. ladies and gentlemen, oh my goodness, we are firm craftsmen of our faith, strict guardians of our heritage. Good evening. You're watching the Marcia Weekes Show, and we're coming to you live from Barbados. And you've just heard the national anthem of Barbados, and this is the beautiful flag of Barbados. Well, tonight it is a great, great, great night. We are excited. Let me tell you, things are happening so quickly. Oh my goodness, things are happening so fast in Barbados, and we're here. We have so much to deal with tonight. And so I just want to go right ahead and welcome everybody quickly because, we're a family. People who don't understand that, they want to know, why don't you go straight into the program? Well, we're a family. And so tonight I want to welcome Mystic Angel and Lucinda Allen and Teroni and Monica Ince and Ryan Rock. How are you? Marva Hunt, Ronald Archer from Canada. Hey, Ronald. Matthew B. Oh, my goodness. Patricia Green, Marcia Miller, St. Philip, Diana Husbands, Machio, Andrea Critchlow, Houston Fields. How are you, Callie B? Callie B, I know you're watching from the UK. Lori Baba. She liked and shared already. That's what we do, okay? So we come on as a panelist and the guests, and we prepare for you. And what you do, you help us to promote, right, Judy Jokes? Because we don't have any ads running on this page. This is all word of mouth, and you send it right, Mildred Ben. Owen Hines, it's a real pleasure to have you. Sam Igbo, how are you doing? He said, days of our lives, you're right. Beverly Prescott, wonderful Wednesday. Sandra Watkins, how are you? Cherry Berry, how are you, Cherry? Cami, say good evening to all. We love you. Oh my goodness. That's what I'm feeling. It's the love, it's the appreciation, it's the prayers, it's the togetherness. That's what we have here on the Marcia Weekes Show. We have one focus, and there's one little girl that every night I tell you we honor her. Anybody knows the name of that little girl? Sandra Charles, Jacqueline Ali. Let me see who's gonna be put at the front of the class so early. Rhonda Paris, Sharon Ennis, Camera Hardin, Richard Eastman, CG. Good night, CG. CG is on, and CG is the person who deals with all of our placards. And luckily, thank God for Unity Workers Union by way of none other but Mr. Caswell Franklin. And through him, we've been able to use his banners, use his placards, and CG puts everything we need on it. Okay. And I'm so glad that she joined, Vernon, because I want to tell everybody that we're not on the road this Saturday. There's no march this Saturday, but I have good news for you, because I know Judy and all of them going to get me. I have good news for you. Guess what, guys? The 27th is our next march, and from there we have a march for 4 weeks straight. And ADG, you got to come out because we got the big truck. We're going to be making more noise. We got the big truck, y'all. It's a big truck on the road like a dooment. Yes, Judy, I know you like the noise. We want to get some noise makers. Everybody come out, bring back the whistle, bring back your t-shirt. Bring back the t-shirt and the whistle. Okay, wear the t-shirt and the whistle. Right? Vihoy, I know you're not here, but you're with us in spirit. Okay, you're with us in spirit. So folks, on the 27th, family on the 27th, all roads lead to Kensington, right there next door to Kensington Mall is where we start from, and we head all the way to Independence Square. And there's so many issues that we are going to be marching about. One is integrity in public life. I tell you, folks, as Barbadians, we need to be saying to our government and those who are in office, all of those in the cabinet, all of our MPs and all of the senators, everybody who's serving. We need to say to them, listen, no election in Barbados until we have the integrity in public life. Law, until it becomes a law. Right now they're pretending. We know that what they did, that they went ahead and they campaigned on it. But as soon as they went in, it's no more. They don't want us to know how much they have. Why? What are you hiding? What are you hiding? We want to know from all of our government officials, all of the MPs. I can say MPs because they're the ones that have to make it into law. The prime minister, we want to know from all of them. The prime minister, go right down to the last senator. What is it? Are you hiding something from the people of Barbados? Why can't you declare your wealth? Why can't we know what you own and how you came by it? Oh my goodness. Wow. And that is what that's what, yes, Sonny, good night, Sonny. Sonny says they might need to look up the word integrity in the dictionary. Yes? Well, yeah, where is that bill? And that is it. We're going to make some noise in the place, guys. Come on out. Don't get lackadaisical now. Don't pull off. Listen, don't get quiet now, Don't get quiet. Yes, lift your voices and make those voices be known. And we're going to talk a bit more about that and look at somebody says we are to march about the registry not delivering on the probate and letters of administration for many years. Yes. Yes. We need things to come out. We know that if we should have some things changing in Barbados, if we have all of these things in place, we would save money. Corruption, because of corruption, we lose a lot of money. We're paying out a lot of taxes, but we lose a lot of money because of corruption, right? Yeah. All right. Okay, folks. Well, guys, we have, as I was coming on, I don't know, Dave, if you check your WhatsApp, you will see that there is a news item from Starcom. Isn't there a news item from Starcom, Dave? Check your phone. Okay, put it right up. And as you put it up, I'm going to welcome Zika John is going to come and join me. Hi, Mr. Zika John. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I am doing awesome today. Good night, loyal opposition. How are we doing today?
Oh my goodness! I know they're doing good because they are messaging in the chat and the numbers are looking good already, and they're sharing and liking. And listen, Zico, did you hear the news, Zico? They put it up on here for me. Zico, did you hear the news? Did you hear the news, Zico?
Yeah. Which news? About, yeah, for sure. Definitely.
What you heard? What did you hear?
Definitely. Where to start? A very infamous individual being wanted, well known to many for his activities and also for his affiliation with very powerful people.
With very powerful people. Well, apparently, Starcom Network at 6:28 p.m. is saying that Bounty has been captured. That he is captured. He is in police custody tonight. Barbados, he's in police custody. And I am saying, a lot of people, I know a lot of people, were praying that he would be alive when they capture him. He's 48 years old. Yeah, he's 48 years old. And I tell you something, I have this mortar in my hand. And there's a saying, what the saying says, Zico?
I make some noise. Make more noise.
We're making noise with the pencil.
More noise.
Yes. We're making noise because there is more in the mortar
Yep.
than the pestle, right? More in the mortar. There is something happening in the mortar. You don't see what's in my mortar. You see the pestle, but there is more in this mortar than the
Yep.
pestle. So we are hearing that this guy is, let me put my mortar on my pestle here. We're hearing that this guy is apprehended. And, they said he was armed and dangerous. And I let you, Zico, what are your thoughts about this as a young Barbadian who was involved in some of that kind of lifestyle? You change your life, turn your life around. What have been your thoughts? What have been your thoughts since you've heard and hearing now he's apprehended?
Most of the times when we hear certain individuals armed and dangerous, the majority of the times they don't ever make it back alive. That's the reality of it. So he being captured and still breathing is very good, interesting for him. I'm looking to see what comes out of it. I'm looking to see what murmurs, what noise comes out of the whole situation as well. But normally when we hear armed and dangerous, the majority of the times they don't ever tend to make it back to the station of life. It's more likely a bounty on the person's head.
I love it. A bounty on the person's head. And I was reflecting on that too, Zico. And I said to myself, when I heard that he was alive, I said it might be the public, because all on social media and so on, people are saying, you know what, they're going to kill him, they're going to kill him, they're going to kill him. And probably that might have saved Bounty's life.
I was even studying it today, and I was like, it was before the news came out, and I was like, I think he needs to make a public appearance either to the police station with a lawyer, cameras on, showing himself coming into custody, because trust me and trust and believe, it's very, very slim chances that he probably would have made it back before breathing.
Yeah. And what about him being in custody? You think he's gonna last?
I believe he will. If he moves smart, I do believe still that he has also other people in very high places that can help him maneuver and navigate the system where it would be safe where he's concerned. I think too many eyes is on. I don't think anybody will make a rash or harsh decision to try and silence him now that he's going to prison, because obviously that's going to open Pandora's box. So I think that people is going to be very careful how they interact with him going forward, or how they seek to get information out of him going forward.
Yes. And the big question people are asking, and they're hoping that he will speak, that he will talk. Do you think that is going to happen?
In most situations like these, what tends to happen is that someone comes in and they give you an agreement, keep your mouth shut. If not, XYZ is going to happen, and you definitely don't want XYZ is going to happen. So they're going to give him an ultimatum, and it's going to put him in a corner. And depending where his loyalty or where he decides how free he wants to be, we will then know. But obviously, looking at the information, looking at the, what he was saying, especially on social media and what's not, and no, I believe that he has some cards to play as well. I believe that he has some cards in his back pocket that he can leverage, whether it's for a shorter time in terms of how much time he spends in prison, or maybe he walks right back up to the front door and just offers us something else.
Well, you're interesting. You talk about cards, and I'm here wondering what kind of cards.
Well, everybody know that, that Bounty being in the streets a very, very, very long time. He's seen things, he's known things. Myself, who been part of that life, not for as long as he was, and I've known some things, and I continue to know some things. So I know for a fact that he know how the organization works. He know how the flow of guns comes in and out of this country. He know the politics that happens behind the politics. He know what happens within the underground government as well. So trust me, he is very much aware. And if there's anybody that I know for sure that has cards to play, is this gentleman right here on the screen.
I mean, most definitely. We saw a video where he and some others were calling, and we can say it because we saw the video and we knew who the person was in the video. And the person who we see in the video is the Prime Minister of Barbados, and they were calling her General. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, is he going to reach out to General? Will General respond to him? Mm-hmm. I don't know. We also saw this same gentleman who is in custody walking, going into Parliament. You know, with his ticket. So he was invited into Parliament. That we know because it was by invitation only. So we know that he was invited. So the big question is, who is he going to call on? The people who invited him? You know, is it the Prime Minister who he was in the video with, and he was calling her General? And that's not that we're not making this up. We saw it. That's the thing about it, that it's something that's seen. I don't know if Dave has that single video where we were trying to figure out when it was posted, Dave, and he was saying that they want him to take all the blame. If Dave would have that and put it up for us. But I think that yeah, go ahead, Dave. Go ahead, play that one. Can't hear it. Let's see. Yeah, it's muted, Dave.
I blame me wrongfully, you know, but my back broad, look at it, look, broad, it's like so I can take all the blame. But you see me? Life live on, you see me? I want to say something that I don't want to say, right? Because you see me, I feel like foolish, you know, but the team up and want plan for me, whole thing. You see me, but I still here. Yeah, I want some words, man. I think me too. I think me too cruel. But I want to talk it out, you know.
He said he wanted to talk it out, and something he said there. He said that they think I'm foolish. They think I'm foolish.
The thing about go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
The thing about it is that what people don't know, especially on that level, when we're talking about people who you know for sure that govern certain areas. Just how there's politics and how there is people being reshuffled in certain seats in government, the same thing also happened in the streets as well. And they can tell you right now, and they know for a fact that there's also a shift and a reshuffle in the streets hierarchy as well. So somebody have to be removed off the board so new players could play. And what tends to happen? What tends to happen majority of the times when certain information leaks or when certain things happen. There's definitely reshuffling. Somebody got to take the fall for it, and everybody's aware. And everybody who's on that level is aware.
Correct. Correct. Listen to me. You know, I said to myself, well, as you know, since I've been here, what I've noticed is that there was one in St. Lucie. You remember that one?
Yep.
Right. That they call him Lord. I only call the Messiah Lord, but they call him Lord. Yeah. Right. But there's a Lord somebody, and he was apprehended, and so that was a couple years ago, and I was speaking to a young man, and he says, well, you know, they don't have any more uses for him now, so he's gone, right? And here it is, the one who was down here in St. Philip, in this side of the area, the country, he's now apprehended. My big question is, what happened to that one in St. Michael that on Good Friday, he picked out his phone and he took up his phone. I don't know if Dave could find that. And he called the Prime Minister on his phone. You know, the questions like that, I want to know what happened to that matter. What happened to that one? So it makes me wonder, is this, are we watching here a state-sponsored, what I call like a turf war? Is this gang turf war then? You know, is one, you know, these people said, well, we are, what they call them? We are the nation. They call themselves a nation, right? Is it a nation they call themselves?
A government. It's called itself a government. Yeah.
Right. They are a government, they say. They said, we are the government. These are the ones up there in St. Michael, right?
In St. Michael, yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, St. Michael area. And they call themselves a government. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here we have a government within a government. Is it that that government is going to be allowed to be the only one standing? Is that it? Is that what is playing here? We don't know, so we have to ask questions because we're not hearing anything about that particular one.
If anybody been paying attention in terms of how I went turf war. No, this is bigger than turf war. Turf war for soldiers, and that is small stuff. This is surpassed that. This trust me, this is above that. I'm gonna show you if anybody been paying attention. If you've looked within the north of the island where we talk about St. Lucie, that been rectified, completely shut down. If you've looked now coming off of the St. Philip, St. John area, basically you could put all that into one area. This is where we're seeing going. Now you gotta look at the tongue area. Recently, the majority of the violence happened within the tongue area because that same government is now the strongest gang in Barbados. I mean, they say the strongest gang in terms of the recruitment of new individuals, in terms of the power, in terms of resources, and in terms of their network. Is the biggest within Barbados currently. And with him out of the picture, it is now a monopoly. Is basically this particular. So if anybody in paying attention, just be a watch.
Just watch and see, because and you see, a lot of people, when they feel that they have the power of the state with them, they feel strong and mighty. I believe there was a time when as my opinion, based on looking on those videos, there was a time, could be, that Bounty felt empowered because he felt he had the government with him. And now that is not so. As he said, everybody wants to put the blame on him, right? But now, and I've been asking my husband that since it started. I said, hold a minute, is this a state sponsored gang turf warfare? Right, that is happening, where this government is going to be that somebody says not the legitimate government, right, is going to be able to stand, because we're not hearing that government being coming up for anything, with the police. We're not hearing anything. I don't know, but we're not hearing anything. I've been told that, there's some people in high positions in the government that is godparents to, to the big gang leader there, that they're God's son. You see, and all of these kinds of things that are going on, connecting to government. So what's happening, Zico, is that people will look at this and say, oh, they're cleaning up the country. They're cleaning up the country. But you have to understand, as Zico is saying, it's a switching and a centralizing of power.
Correct.
Any thoughts there?
Correct. And then what people also need to realize, like, especially even in terms of the ones who refuse to relinquish their power, and they're talking on the street level, the ones who have refused to relinquish their power, they were arrests made, and then there were active shootings within certain neighborhoods, especially also as well within the town, who was not submitting or subjugating themselves to that particular government. You can look at the Nelson Street area, and then you can look at certain areas. If you want to talk Cape and other areas as well. And then you can also look at the Sergeant Village, area as well. And if anybody know the politics are going between the shootings of who been doing XYZ, it was basically the ones who refused to relinquish that power. And the reality of it is that war can only happen for so long. I mean, it is expensive, especially within the streets. War is very expensive. Any boss will tell you so, especially within the streets. Even for them, it is very expensive. Whether it's attorneys, whether it's getting more weapons, whether it's paying for lawyers, etc. So it's lawyers. So it can only happen for a period of time. So you've been seeing them in clusters. Cool clusters. But I think going forward right now, we're going to see it diminish, especially when it comes to the gun violence within Barbados. And that is happening because I believe that people above them are now putting it in a way that it seems like we have in a control of the violent situation within Barbados, but really it's just that we put in certain people. It's like Game of Thrones. We put in certain people in place to take control, so it will lessen the turf wars within Barbados.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when it is being reported that people within government, high places in government, is very, very connected to leaders in the St. Michael area. And have, as I said, they're connected by their God this and God son, God daughter mixed up in all of that. Then those people, a lot of times, they feel empowered, right? And they feel like they could do whatever they want to do. And so as I said, I see a state-sponsored gang turf warfare, while the government is saying we don't want any war. But before there's an area that I want to touch, but before I get to that, Zico, did you realize, or am I? I didn't research it, but I want to know if you saw it or if anybody has noticed it, that in the 10 days of CARIFESTA, we did not have a lot of crime, a lot of gun violence. Am I wrong in that? I was supposed to actually look at the numbers.
You are correct. The situation, right, if anybody remembers correctly, the situations that happened right before, remember we talked about clusters, certain things happen in clusters, where the green light is then given to resolve certain situations in a timely manner because the war is expensive. All right? So it happens in clusters. If anybody remember, there was a cluster before CARIFESTA. Then I mentioned certain areas before who refused to relinquish power. They got taken off the board. And then the ones, then they fled. Some of the individuals who also lived in the Nelson Street area and the Tong area fled from Nelson Street into the Christchurch area. This was for a regrouping. This was so they could basically regroup and build in numbers. The head of our organization was killed. How he was killed, which is interesting. How he was killed off a bike. He was riding a bike. Him and a female, whoever remember, him and the females on the bike, and then they said he was then licked off the bike with the police. All right, this was the head. All right, so second in command came in. So then the ones who fled from Nelson Street came into the Christchurch area, and then eventually then was the back and forth going on. Then you heard about the shootings in town, people on bikes. Then you saw some arrests happen. A lot of people from the Christchurch area was apprehended. Anyone from particular neighborhood in that Deacons area or anything like that? No. Christchurch area though, a lot of people was apprehended, right? They was taken off the streets in numbers. You saw 4 and 5, 6 of them walking through the courthouse on a day. Pay attention, people. Pay very close attention.
More in the mortar than the pestle, folks. It's not what you see. It is not what you see. There's a lot going on. Because I'm saying if it is that you're going to tell me that these guys who are shooting up, they are so conscious of country that they would say, oh, it's CARIFESTA, no shooting now. Or is there an unseen hand? Is there a hand that is really guiding all of what's happening? Is it government directed? I'm asking straight. It's a general question, and we can ask question. Is it government directed? Why there was no? Go ahead.
And this is and this is a true story. This is not here and say this is something I know. This is something I was actually a part of. When one of the richest families in Barbados, they're not black, they're not white, and you just leave it as that. People can pick sense from nonsense. One of the richest families in Barbados. They hold meetings. This is gang activity meetings. So when you hear about certain gang bosses, eventually everybody's got to come to the table and have a meeting. You will be told that right now is not the time for that. You will be told from very powerful people that this is not the time for that. Everybody know the consequences of disobeying those rules. Everybody know the consequences of disobeying those rules. The reason why the pipeline into Barbados, whether it's drugs, whether it's guns, all come through well, two to three people in very high places, 2 to 3 people, and then it comes down, then eventually distributed throughout. If those 2 to 3 people decide and tell you that it's a halt and see that violent thing cease, it cease. It cease. It operates like a actual government. If you understand and you look and you see, if people really understand, right, how everything links, people will be surprised. People will be surprised. No man decides, all right, cool, we can partner with guns for no reason because it's CARIFESTA, because it's strategic. It's strategic. There's no way going to want to kill you and because, oh yeah, tourists coming in, so let me just relax for a little bit and then afterwards we can resume. No, it's strategic. And when it's halt, it's halt. When it's green light, when it's green light. When it's red light, it's red light.
And the thing is that, someone sent me some information saying that they saw some of these bosses were at in the VIP section at CARIFESTA. So some of these same gang people, they were leaders. It is being said, that they were at CARIFESTA in the VIP section. Now, I didn't doubt that one bit. I didn't see it, but it's possible. I didn't see it because of what we have seen. And because I had recognized, because I'm very observant, that we didn't have that many shootings or barely had anything in CARIFESTA. So somebody gave an order that, listen here, stop all of this right now. And so it makes it really funny when we see people, the government is now saying, oh, we have this advisory on crime and we're going to solve this and we're cleaning up and there are many questions that we want to ask. Why did they just stop in CARIFESTA? Why? And what is happening right now, a serious question that I have to ask Zico is this. I'm from Jamaica, right?
Yeah.
And one of the areas that the gangs and the leaders were used very heavily, one of the ways they were used and the ways that they made a lot of money and they got a lot of weapons through this means was elections time. All right? So the gangs in Jamaica flourished during elections. That was back then, right? Yeah. Now it's different. But back then, our politics was very much connected with the gangs. Okay? And what I know of a fact here, and this is not the rest of the things where, some of the things we're thinking this might happen to him in jail and so on. A lot of other things that we say here, we know, we're just not calling names, right, Zico?
Yep.
And this is one of the things that I know of a fact, Zico. I know. And I'm not calling names because I can't. I leave that to that blog that is overseas, that she can call names, and right. We all need to work on this thing together. I'm happy when she can call names. I can't.
Exactly.
Right? But I can't call names. But do you know, Zico and Barbados, do you know the role that a person like Bounty would have played in elections, in previous elections? Barbados, do you understand the role? And don't come and tell me that I'm on here speculating and I'm making up. I am telling you facts. This man, right? And not just, I'm talking about leaders, okay? The role that they play in elections. And that's why a lot of people will be shaking in their boots.
I'm telling you. And then not only that, what I wanted to say, I remember I told you that from going forward, you can hear less shootings rather than the second half. The second half is going to be less shootings. That's my prediction. Elections is coming up. We need to clean up this up. And we need to make some arrests. Some big arrests. You can hear about some couple random busts coming up shortly. We're either to confiscate some weapons or what. You can hear about some random things happening shortly. And it's going to we'll be cracking on. We're doing a really good job. Yeah. Let's look at this here from a business perspective, right? If you had a business, whether you want influencers to then help you succeed within your business, if you can get people who could influence people to come into your store,
Yes.
but you not then support those influencers? So look at it this way: elections is coming up, and I need certain people from certain neighborhoods to enhance my numbers. Who am I going to go to? Not really the church, sorry to say, because the church is dead. I'm sorry to say. So who am I going to go to? I'm going to go to the gangsters and then get the people who run certain organizations within the community, the new community leaders, as they call themselves. So I go to these new community leaders and I say, all right, cool, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking to do coming up election time. I need XYZ votes. What are you going to do for me? All right, cool, that's no problem. But this is what we need in return. XYZ in return, and then certain hands are shake, and then certain things are done. Election time is coming up. When election time comes up, you tend to see the majority of the times that there's less violence going on within Barbados. Yeah, there can be one or two people angry on the lower chain, are probably getting a fight here or there, or probably a little stabbing in tongue, or whatever the case is, over argument or something, minor. But on the macro,
No.
You're not going to see it.
The election portion of it's really major for a lot of people, and some people believe they can't win without the blocks, they can't win without those gangs, and that is what I believe. I've been told Owen Arthur was concerned about. It's there. I tell you, I mean, this is one of the issues that he had, one of the concerns that he had, that Barbados would not become like Jamaica, where our elections were taken over by gangs, or run by gangs, or where people would be intimidated because if they don't vote for such persons, then they're afraid of that particular gang, etc. They take over communities, etc. And there were some politicians that were trying to go down that road. And I remember, I was briefed about that Mr. Owen Arthur was very much against that kind of politics, and said that's the road that we do not want to go down on. And I don't know if you remember Sonia Brown. I don't know. You remember Sonia Brown stood up in Parliament, and she was against this working with the bloc. She was against it completely. And she's one politician I know that she's against that. She's gone on the books by saying that she's against trying to legitimize what happens in some of these instances, and I think that I think that it is so important, very, very, very important, that people understand the role that they can play, and look out for it at election time, and pray that it doesn't engulf Barbados, because a lot of politicians, they reach for the blocks. You see, when people want to win, Zico, a lot of people, if they have no integrity, they do anything to win.
You're desperate.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when the first times I ever received money, and this was even before you could have voted. I'll never forget this. It was a particular politician. He came and he went to the a particular boss in Christchurch area. And he went with a bag. And never forget this. I was a little boy just on the block hanging around chilling. I wasn't even old enough to vote. And he came and he dropped the bag. And he told the big man on the block, make it happen. I got back in his car and left. I got money. I wasn't even eligible to vote. And I got money. Money was given away, and I got money. I would never forget that. And I was like, this is really how it is for sure. This is how it is. Yeah, and majority of the times, I know this is what happens within the streets. It is given directly. That's how most people don't come up, because most people either don't change their lifestyle and come and speak upon it. But the majority of the times, that's what tends to happen. You come, you drop a bag, and things make things happen. Sometimes they may be discouraged as man, we just getting them money so they can transport, the disabled to and forward from the come on, let me be real. And they don't think people is be transparent enough or be honest enough to come out and say. A lot of people fear a lot of things. I mean, like honestly, for me, I am very fearless. I was fearless then, I can be very fearless now. And they can speak the truth. And the truth is elections just coming up. And right now there's going to be a monopoly because right now you want to make it seem like you're cracking on crime. You got control of the whole situation. Things gonna lessen up, and right now you got the pulse of the nation in your hands because you know for sure you can make anything happen from a legitimate or illegitimate standpoint.
Yep. Because you have those that are remaining. The ones that are remaining are the ones that are going to make it. As you say, they drop the bag of money on the block and they say, "Make it happen." You see, and they don't realize that when you give that kind of money. What happens? These guys, they go out and they buy more weapons with it, don't they? They go and they buy more weapons and they get they expand. They expand, and so all of that happens at election time. This is how they grew in Jamaica. The money flowed at election time.
Anybody who knows it. In Barbados, especially when we're talking about the older heads, you had the ones that was on the streets for a very, very, very long time. The ones who did very little prison, the ones who've been on top for a very long time. I noticed for I was under a particular, I won't say under, but it was around a particular gang leader. And every time before the police came and raided the block, he got a phone call. And he would just laugh. He wouldn't even tell nobody anything. He would just leave and the block would get raided a couple of minutes after. I know this happened multiple times. And I used to wonder how he this guy who's called, who's tipped he off or whatever the case may be. And then the older I got and the more connected I got and the more I began to understand, because my thing was to try to understand how very interconnected certain things is. And then in a very naive mindset, we tend to believe that there's this separate between the streets and then the legitimate, side. But really and truly, it is not. It is money, power, respect. That's it. If you really want to understand, you really want to see the trail, look at money, power, and respect. So what tends to happen then is that he would normally get called, a couple low links would probably get hold with some stuff and what's not. So then I was wondering, how come certain individuals, on the high scale, that we know for sure involved in certain things, we know for sure run particular areas within the community, nothing happens to them. And then I tell myself, no, something making sense, somebody talking. And then I thought it was just being informants, but it was much deeper than that. It wasn't that they were being informants. There were pawns, and they were employed to keep control and to give them insight and control over certain neighborhoods. And then if they did anything contrary to what was said, then they're removed. Majority of the times is by death. It's like an accident. Oh, this body was running, he get shoot for no reason. We don't know where you get shoot. He had a gun, man. He had a gun, but we want to know what happened. Next person, the body may got information on a particular situation. You hear all of a sudden he get shoot too. He had a gun on him, he was then shot. So that's why I say I'm very surprised that he was apprehended and he's still alive, because the majority of the times, especially for people who've been around very, very, very long, they don't tend to actually be able to live to talk about whether it's that it being true or it ain't true, or even reform to come up with and say this is what it is.
You see, but that is why you will find politicians, they put on a lot of parties and put on a lot of fetes, and they appeal to a certain set of people. You will notice the politician will come into the community. They either deal with the blocks or the rum shop. Think about that. That is that's what they practice. The blocks or the rum shop. They're people.
You had a party in that same St. Michael area named what? Breakfast on my block. Had hundreds and hundreds of people. No police, no intervention. People smoke as a light. People had their weapons in the race as they like. People operated as they like. Nobody in trouble them. Nobody in stop them. Now gonna try and hold a little political rally. Try and hold a little march and see how much red tape or how much people police come and tell you not no, you can't do it, or no, here right now gonna send this and gonna send that. But still, yeah, you can have multiple individuals on a block smoking guns in the waist, all different kind of things, loud music, you know, in a community, and nothing is done. But every single year is still being endorsed on that same very government.
Yes. You know, and as we're talking, guys, I think that, I mean, Zico, from his experience here, and he's out of that lifestyle, and me from, you know, talking to people, people calling me, just letting me know what happened, and I can't call the people name that's letting me know what happened, and you know, all the things that's done at election time. Here is Zico telling some of it, and I'm hoping some of those who are candidates listen. You see, if you practice criminality as a candidate, as a political candidate, if you are involved in criminal activities and connected with criminals when you are a political candidate, what do you think is going to happen when you become a minister, or you're in the Senate, or you're over some government entity? Zico, what do you think? If you were a thieving candidate, you're going to be a thieving MP and a thieving senator, or a thieving whomever. That's the thing. And that's what we're hoping, that as we speak about this tonight, those of you who are listening, you want to get into politics? Integrity, man, boss and boss woman. Because if you, as I say, you lay down with dogs, you're going to get fleas. There is no way you are going to be a candidate involved in criminal activities, and you use criminal activities in order to win your seat, and think that it's going to just disappear. What? No, because somebody's going to come and they're going to try to grease your hand, and they're going to say, come and give me this, get this contract. You understand, Zico? Get this contract for me. You're over a particular ministry, and they say, all right, you're going to do that. We're going to fix you up with a couple millions. Make sure that I get it. Because that's how you got there. And I'm just speaking generally. And I'm speaking especially to those young ones who are going in. Don't be so needy. If you are going into politics because you are broke, the chances of you getting involved in all kinds of criminal activities is very, very high. Very high.
And this thing about it is that I honestly do believe that sometimes people get into politics with good intentions. You know, I can't wait to make a change. I can't wait to do this. I can't wait to do that. And then probably the first couple times they run, they're disappointed. The votes don't turn their way. And then eventually they tell themselves, so what can I do to enhance my votes? And then it's where propositions begin to happen. This is when certain people come to you and knock on your door and say they would like to have a meeting with you. And then start to say, well, you know, I can guarantee you XYZ votes, or I can guarantee you a particular pull in a particular direction if you help us out in this particular area. And this is where the compromise begins to happen. And if you're not selling people, if you're not selling people policies and you're not selling people true change, there's no need for you then to be even sitting down in your office telling you about they're going to do this or do that. No, you supporting me because you believe I can bring true change to the country. Are you supporting me because you want a favor? And anytime somebody can come and knock on your door and ask for a favor and say, well, yes, I can bring votes. If you do this, you know for sure you're selling your soul. It should never have to come to that. And I believe the majority of the times that what tends to happen, because it comes down to this desperate, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I need to up my votes. So what are you going to do? And I'm telling you, if you're looking for it, you can get it. Somebody can knock on our door and ask you to sell your soul for some votes.
Correct. Dave, I have a video there, Dave. If you can play the video for me. That's in your phone. That's a young man speaking. And I think a lot of people, they get worried because when you begin to speak like this, the reality is that we are speaking of what is in a video, what we see. And if I speak about the government, I'm not calling the name of any particular person in government. When you hear me say government, it's not because I can't call any name. I call a name, and as far as we're concerned right now, I have not even heard Zika mention the name of any gang.
None.
Zika did not mention the name of any gang. So, I'm not sure what the thing is, but that's the kind of thing that happens, that we don't want to be able to face anything. Anything I've said about the prime minister is what I've seen. I see on the screen in front of me is what I'm speaking of. All right. And you did not call the name of any gang, and I didn't call the name of any gang. All right. So, yeah. Dave, go ahead and play it for me, please.
Barbados they come to it, right? Because when they understand what's going on in this country full of big gatekeepers, right? And the only way that you get through this gate is by doing a lot of wrong things, a lot of ungodly things to dim your light. You understand? Because your soul is light, so they just want you to dim your light. So you do a lot of ungodly things to dim your light. And if you're doing these things, you ain't getting through this gate, because that's how they're designed to block you. So I want to try and wake up and see that anybody that trying to spread the right messages or anything to people that's end up lock up wrongfully, poison, yes, buddy, clone, kill. But anybody that's spreading the wrong messages to the wrong people is become millionaires. Big houses, big car, big chain. The people that's giving people all the damn things for we to look at, because we hand to mouth and like all of these things. But we have to look at these things, we used to do what must be done and keep doing right in the Father eyes, not these people's eyes. So I want to try and wake up. Wake up for real, man, because we need one another. Because the humans are sending a ripple effect through the earth and affect everything else. Plants, animals, everything else. So it's we that go and raise the vibrations and wake up in this small little country here. Because this small country will change the world. And I better believe it here. And wake up and see who we're following. Because who we following carry to the slaughterhouse. Try and wake up here. Real thing.
Wow. Zico, you know this, you know that young man.
No, I don't. He looks familiar, but I can't say I do.
Yeah.
He looks very familiar though.
What
But
are
what
your
he's saying
thoughts?
is,
Yeah, I want to hear
yeah,
your thoughts.
what he's saying is 100%. I interact with young people daily, whether it's counseling or just your interaction and what's not. And and what he's saying is an echo for many, many voices that he's heard before. And they're losing hope and they're losing faith. To get the right way, to get the straight and narrow, and then to see no results, they begin to dim their head. And it becomes sad, because even for me, then trying to restore hope or restore some level of faith in the good in the world, it becomes hard, because then you have to point out some successful situations, successful scenarios, and it is very few. I mean, like way too few. And then it's just like, for instance, we can invite a person. This is an example. You invite a young man to church, and when you invite him to church, the first thing you're gonna ask, how is I gonna put food on my table though? I see my mother going to church every single day, and she's still in the same situation that she was in. You understand? If you're gonna show people the way to go, it still must be good examples and true examples of where you must be able to succeed without feeling that you were manipulated, without feeling that you had to compromise yourself, had to sell your soul, or do something ungodly. And the majority of the young people out there today believe that the only way now to get through is by taking the crooked path, because it's shorter and it's easier. And then social media makes it seem like, you know what, everything comes in an instant. You're seeing everything and everything seems all put together and everything seems all well. And the reality of it is that eventually a lot of the young people losing hope, and then they going into town home, they send the want to sell something, then you come across red tape, then the government want to do overreach into your business. So then you believe that you feel defeated, because there's nothing that you could do that you believe that is right, that the government does not have their hand in.
Mhm.
And if they got a hand in it, means for sure you're being taxed somewhere, you're being hit hard somewhere. So really and truly, it's sad. I mean, like, honestly, it is sad. And I hate over policing, and I hate when government overreach into civilian activity or even entrepreneurships. And then when we look at the situation,
We're going to touch on that soon, but continue.
Yeah, and then even when we look at the situation at the people who've been trying, I know for a fact there was a business that I was trying to register for the longest time. And I sent in the information and I tried to get this thing registered. And this is going 7 months now. And they can tell me it's still a waiting list. It is still a waiting list, which means for a fact that I cannot then go to the bank and then register a business account because it's still not yet registered. So when you see young people trying to do different things and do things that is positive, and then you realizing that still you hold up and held back because of what? Because the government ain't doing a role and playing a role correctly. So I understand his frustration. I know what it is for him to actually want to do something positive, and you still believe that you're being put down. It's only going to lead you in one direction.
You know, he said something, and we're going to play it. I'm going to play it again. Because and I know Don, because we're going to move this conversation on tonight. But I want us to listen carefully to what this young man is saying. He said there's something he talked about gatekeepers. Listen carefully. And there is a video that is out there where a young man, and I've made mention to it before, where he said on the video, in order to get ahead in Barbados as a young man, you either, and you don't have an education, it says you either going to have to gangbang or sell drugs, basically do the blocks, or he said, or you sell, or you sell your behind. You understand? You homosexuality is what he's saying, is either one or out of the two. And listen carefully to what this young man is saying. Play it again, Dave.
Barbados they come to in, right? Because when they understand what's going on in this country full of being gatekeepers, right? And the only way that you get through this gate is by doing a lot of wrong things, a lot of ungodly things to dim your light. You understand? Because your soul is light, so it just want you to dim your light. So you do a lot of ungodly things to dim your light. And if you're doing these things, you ain't getting through this gate, because that's how they designed to block you. So I want to try and wake up and see that anybody that trying to spread the right messages or anything to people that's end up lock up wrongfully, poison, yes, buddy, clone, kill. But anybody that's spreading the wrong messages to the wrong people is become millionaires. Big houses, big car, big chain. The people is giving people all the damn things for we to look at, because we hand them out and like all of these things. But we have to look at these things, we have to do what must be done and keep doing right in the Father eyes, not these people's eyes. So I want to try and wake up. Wake up for real, man, because we need one another. Because the humans is send a ripple effect through the earth and affect everything else. Plants, animals, everything else. So it's we that go and raise the vibrations and wake up in this small little country here, because this small country will change the world. And I better believe it here. I'll wake up and see who we're following. Because who we following carry to the slaughterhouse. Try and wake up here. Real thing.
Wow. I tried to make some notes there. Oh my goodness. He says when you try to do the right things, they try to get you out. Mm-hmm. Right? Zico, they're gonna try one way or the other. And I have seen it. I have experienced that. People come and they, whatever, and all wherever it is. It don't have to be on the block, could be in the very church, and they try to remove you. They think that you're progressing. They think you're doing something positive, right? And the people who are seemingly doing what is wrong, they get, they seem to get ahead, and people open doors to them, etc. He also talked about, following, watch who you're following. And even to us adults, who are we following? There are some people, I am telling you, it's like they've made a god out of leaders. They have made a god out of leaders. You can't say one word about a particular leader or any leader. It's a problem. Not even one word, right? It becomes a problem, right? And because they've made gods out of them, they're followers of these people, right? They follow them, and they're following them. They will follow them off of a ditch, you hear? And they will believe whatever they tell them, right? They will follow them off of a ditch, and they will believe whatever they are told. Anything else in that video you want to comment on, Zico?
Yeah, he hit it spot on. I know for the frustration looks like, and he can look at it and say that he feels kind of defeated, but he still want, you know what? He still want to continue to encourage himself and continue to encourage others as well. Don't give up, you know, even if you feel put down, you know, you feel like you be finding it hard, or you find yourself having to go in compromising positions, you know, we need each other. He mentioned that. That's one of the last things he said. We need each other. And that was very, very powerful when he said that, you know, and he said not just for the people eyes, but God eyes as well. You're doing it for God, not for people, you know. Continue the good fight. So I respect that.
Correct. Let me see if anybody in the chat, is there anything in that video? Let me see if there's anything in the video. Somebody said black men, people think that black men ignorant. See how intelligent he is. He's so true. Correct. Carol says this young man is so correct. There are a few good examples out there for young people to follow. However, they need to trust God and do what is right. Their rewards would be numerous. Vihoy says we are light and energy. That's why we talk about God being a spirit. That's why we worship him in spirit. And that's something he says, that they're trying for the young people, for people to do what is wrong. Because the gatekeepers want you to listen to the young man, which is basically what you and I have been talking about on the show, Zico, since we started, right? You have those gatekeepers, and they want you to do what is wrong. And because they're trying to dim the light that is in you, they're trying to dim God, the light, the God light that is inside of us. And that's what they're doing, right? Nigel Greenwich says, your soul is light. Yes, very profound. Yes. And yes, you're right, Lewis Carl. Homosexuality, a lot of people, they don't want me to talk about it. But it is so. It is a means by which a lot of these people are initiated. It is true. Yeah. Joyanne says it's like when you try to do good, you don't get through, but people doing wrong, prospering would make anyone get frustrated. Yes. Wow. Yes. Angela said Barbados is corrupt. It is in a very dark place, right? Too much wickedness happening. Barbadians need to wake up. Yes. I am telling you, this is what is happening. And folks, I want you to stay with us because we're going somewhere with this show tonight. We have some other young people that are going to be joining us a little later. But what I want to do at this time, Dave, if we could look at, let's look at, as we're talking about this, let's look at this whole integrity in public life. Integrity in public life. Now, there is a video or a link there, Dave. Let me just try and see if I can send that to you, where someone sent me something very early this morning of what is being done in a particular country. And I want to send that. I want us to take a look at that this evening, because as I'm looking for it, Zico, I don't know if you know anything about the Integrity in Public Life Act, right? Well, bill. And it was passed in the lower house, passed, went into the upper house, but not proclaimed. And this particular bill is what would, as it were, cause the politicians or those in leadership to declare their
Assets
assets,
and what's not. Mhm.
yeah, and declare their source of funds and all of that. But
Yeah.
all these bills are being passed, except that bill, right? So, well, the bill is passed, but it's not been made into law. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts when it first, I remember it was, I think it was years now when it was first being mentioned. I laughed about it because I said that they're gonna piggyback on this because it sounds like, oh, they're coming with integrity. Oh, these people coming honest, and these people that's trying to basically show up what probably the government, what some of the shortcomings of the last administration. So I tell myself, all right, cool, they're piggybacking on this. It seems like a good thing going forward. I like the idea of it. Declaring your assets, showing your hand, showing you have nothing to hide, true transparency. I was like, cool, I like this. This I on board with this, this showing its true level of integrity. Then time passed, and then time passed, and then time passed. And then I saw different bills was introduced and passed without this one being revisited. So I knew for a fact, this thing will probably happen a thing soon. It's probably going to be passed probably when it's time for them to bow out. And that was my opinion on it. I just laughed at it because I know for a fact that, there's no way they can actually reveal them hand. And if they do reveal their hand, it's when they put certain things in order or they then hide it so well that when it's time for them to reveal it, they have nothing to worry about. So it's probably, put your house in order. That's probably most people's directive given to them. Put the house in order before we decide to pass this bill. So they're probably just buying some time to put their house in order before the bill is passed.
And as we are, because we're told that they're trying to clean up. You're trying to clean up the country.
Yeah.
Okay. You're trying to clean up the country. And if it is that you're trying to clean up the country, wherever there's corruption, as we said, there is more in the mortar than the pestle. And so if you're trying to clean up corruption, it would stand to reason that you're going to start at the head, right?
Yep.
You're going to look at the head. You're going to clean up. And right. But they don't want that. Now, I want to show you something here that they do in Cayman, right? This document reveals the business interests of all 19 Cayman MPs. You're following, Zico? This is Cayman Islands, right? The business interests of all 19 Cayman MPs. So Dave, go up a little bit and let's see. Let's read some more. So here it is on the screen. We're seeing these are the MPs, right? Let me move the banner because you all need to see what's going on here. It says here, all Cayman MPs are required to list their business interest, investments with the Standards in Public Life Commission. That means they have one in there. It is set up in Cayman. This is what the new cohort of 19 MPs listed for themselves and their immediate families. So it's not just for them, okay, guys? But in Cayman, they have to list for themselves and their families. Andre Ebanks, and go down, Dave. Let's see. Land holdings. He says he owns 4 properties, 2 owned by wife and 1 joint. Barbadians, are we following? Are we following? Yeah. Let's look at the other one. This other one, shareholdings or directorship. He has to say what is his directorship. They go up a little so they can see his name. Right? The name of this one is Gary Rutty. Right? These are members of parliament in Grand Cayman. Right? And he says that they tell them what are 27 properties, land holdings, 27 properties, Cayman, US, and Honduras. He has loans. He has to declare his loans. Who he owes, Russell Holding as part of Burger King sale. Huh? Folks, what do you all think of this? I see Don is in there. Don, I'll kind of brief him as he's getting ready to come in. This is what's happening in Cayman, where MPs have to say what it is they own. we're talking about the Integrity in Public Life Act that has not been put into law as yet. This other one, Ralston Anglin, he's saying that he owns, that he has a point, who he is, he's a shareholdings or directorship, Pointer Consulting. He has 2 properties. Income is his salary and dividends from Pointer Consulting. Bajans, what do you all think of this? What do you all think of this? I want to hear the comment section. This is what I believe the Integrity in Public Life Act, which is supposed to be turned into a law, supposed to be doing, but it's not doing that. Yeah, one more, and then I bring in Don. This lady, let's see what she has. She has her name is Heather Bodden, and she has shareholdings or directorships in Kemari Limited, Bodden Heritage Holdings, Isle Newlands, and she has 4 properties, joint ownership. Okay, and there are 19 of them. Keep going, Dave. 19 of them. Let me bring in Don on this. Let me see in the comment section, is this something we need in Barbados? Good night, Don. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show.
Good night, Marcia. How you doing?
Oh, I am great. I am great. Tonight we're looking at the integrity in public life law that's supposed to be law in Barbados, and we're also looking at Cayman and what they've done in Cayman, where all of 19 MPs, regardless of the party, have to declare what they own and what their source of income is, and if they have any loans, they have to declare it all. Right?
That sounds fantastic. That's a great system.
Fantastic. Why is sounding fantastic? Let's hear your voice tonight.
Well, it's all about transparency. I feel like individuals that have given you their vote and given you their hard-earned money in the form of tax dollars, in the form of VAT, in the form of road tax, in the form of every single tax that we pay, I feel that they really deserve the transparency that comes with the people that are running the show, declaring all their assets. Similar in America, you have to do the same thing. To become president of America, you have to put all your stuff in a blind trust. You're not even able to make decisions for any of these companies that you're a shareholder for. So a lot of those things could easily be implemented in Barbados so that we have a much more transparent society. If politicians are quick to just release numbers accounting for everything, I feel it would instill a lot more trust.
Yeah. You know, do you think that something like this, you think Zico would probably help with some of the voter apathy that is in Barbados, where, you know, last time I think was probably we were at least under 40% of persons who voted. Do you think this would build a lot of trust back in the whole process? Do you think, Zico?
Yeah, definitely would. Yeah, definitely would. For sure, restore at least some trust within certain individuals. Definitely, because as I say, it shows a level of transparency. So it shows that you come in and there's nothing to hide, and there's nothing that you can leave with without being audited publicly. So you can't say, well, yeah, you just come and just get fat off the calf, and you got something story. Everybody can see what is going on. So then it will restore some confidence also to within some MPs within the government as well, because it shows, well, I have nothing to hide. I'm here to be a public servant, and I'm here to do a good job, and that's it.
Yeah. And what, Don, do you think as you encounter people, do you sense a great voter apathy out there? And do you think that this could be one of the reasons where they believe that they go into office and then, you know, they're going to try to siphon off things for themselves? They go into office to get rich. Do you think that could be one of the reasons for that?
Right before we get to the voter apathy, one more thing on this is also an easy way to track. Let's say somebody got into office in 2018 and it was only listed they had 2 properties. Now, only 7 years later, if they have 20-something properties, you'd be like, wait, I mean, you make decent money, but not 20 something. Property is decent money, you know what I mean? So it would just be an easy check and balance. The voter apathy in the country, I really think, has to do with people don't think that there will be a genuine change. People think that you could vote for different parties, but they really don't see the outcome being that drastically different. People see crossing the floor, all of that. They really just think that this group of politicians are all friends and they're just BLP, DLP. It don't really make a difference. Poor people still suffering. That's how the average millennial is approaching the voting process. And most people will say that they're not voting, and they think that that in itself is a protest, when in fact, that's probably the worst thing you could do for your country. Choose not to vote. Because then if you choose not to vote, all I will say is you have absolutely no right complaining. I don't want to hear you complain about anything that happens in the country ever again if you don't vote. Because you had a chance to make your voice known. You might think your one vote doesn't count, but everybody has the same one vote. The prime minister and the pauper have the same one vote, and that's the only say we have. So you gotta make sure you use it.
Yeah, very well said, Don. Zico, I was saying to someone today that I think, and I want to hear you guys your views on this. I think that this is a point where the voting public, Barbadians, need to say, listen, we don't want any more laws passed in this country. We don't want any elections called until this bill is proclaimed as law. The integrity in public life is proclaimed as law. What do you think about that stance, Zico? Do you think this is something Barbadians would
That is
agree
an
to?
excellent suggestion. It's an
Why?
excellent suggestion.
Why?
Why is an excellent suggestion? Because one, it brings focus at the needs of Barbados, and the needs are. I don't think that Tintin, all the other things that need in Barbados right now. I don't believe that is going to solve anything really. But I do believe that this shows, one, we can lead by example. You know, we can go out there and we can show that, all right, we gonna be transparent, we go in a different direction, and we want to be more open, and give y'all more confidence in us. I think that would be a perfect way to start. I mean, you're passing laws on so many things that does not matter, will not have a huge impact on Barbados. So I think that would be an excellent step. My problem with that is this: who will be the people in Barbados speaking? Who will be the people in Barbados making noise? And if you're gonna be making noise, it must be serious noise where that it echoes, that they cannot ignore it no longer. I think that's the best way to go. I think if you really want to bring direction and focus onto this, I think everybody must get on board. Everybody must get on board.
Yes. Don, I want to hear from you about that. Let me state it again for those who might have just joined. My suggestion is that to Barbadians, to the voting public, is to take a hard stance on this integrity in public life bill or act. For it to become law. It has been passed in the upper house, passed in the lower house. Can we come together as a people and say, listen, no other law should be passed until this law is made in, this act is made into law, right? And there should be no elections. We're not taking part in any elections in Barbados until this act becomes law. You are laughing. Why are you laughing?
Well, I mean, that was ideal. I didn't even know it was passed in both houses of parliament. The question you would just have to ask is, why on earth is it not actual law yet? Why hasn't the president signed off on it? I really think that would be a ideal scenario. In the reality that we live in, Mia got 29 seats, every single seat in parliament. She got the majority of the Senate as well, both houses. So she can pass or not pass laws as she pleases. She's really been going on a rampage recently, though, in terms of all of these different divisive laws. Lots of the legislation that comes before the parliament, the lower house, the Barbados people have something to say about. It's been very seldom in the past that every single bill that come into parliament, Bajans are like, what? What on earth is this? Like every single bill, week after week after week, you see on CBC, Barbados Today Nation, the government is looking to introduce this law, and everybody's like, "What on earth is that? What on earth are these fines?" Just like the new law they're gonna have on rental housing. If somebody got a spare bedroom in the house, want to rent it out for those $600-700 a month, now
We're
they
gonna
gotta
get
get a
there. We're gonna
license
get
to do
there.
that.
That's the next thing we're going to get at. But I want us to stay on this a little bit, Don, and it's good to hear you. Waiting. I know Theory is going to come in, and possibly Janine is coming in as well. But I want to stay here. I want us to stay here a little bit. If Dave checks his WhatsApp, what I have there, I have an article. And this article was in the Nation newspaper. That's when, yes. And this was in 2017. Dave, can you see your WhatsApp? So he's trying to get it. And for those who are just joining, what we're seeing on our screen right now, these are politicians from Cayman, and they are declaring these are MPs from Cayman, and they're declaring their assets. They're declaring their loans. They're declaring, whatever they own, shares, land, where they work. They are making it known before they take office. Okay. They are making everything known. And so this is from their integrity in public life, their law. It's in law in Grand Cayman. And so we are wondering why it can't be in Barbados. I was told, gentlemen, somebody said to me, I have to put it like this. A politician said to me, Marcia, it's not going to happen. They are not going to do it. They are not going to do it. Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay, Dave is waiting to put it up. Okay, I think we're getting it up right now. Right. It looks a little old, but I want us to look at it. Look at this, folks. You remember this newspaper? This is the
You
front.
can go up so we can see the date. The date
2017. 2017.
Dave, go to the top of the paper. Can you, if you're able to? What it says there. Read it, guys. You younger than me. Your eyes can see. Read it.
This would have been when they was in opposition, because they wasn't even in power yet.
It is in front of the paper. And it says happy 51st anniversary, November 19, 2017. And what does it say, Don? What does the heading say, Don?
Integrity push.
Yeah. BLP promises a new bill.
The BLP, and this was done while they were in opposition, right?
Yeah,
let's see if we can read. Your eyes might look a bit better than mine. Don, you can see it, or Zico, who can see? You can read anything on there?
Yeah. With Barbados falling in the international corruption rankings, the Barbados Labour Party is proposing new anti-corruption measures. The party plans to lay its Integrity Commission bill before Parliament at its first sitting if it wins the next general elections. Yesterday, the trio of Shadow Attorney General Dale Marshall, candidate for Christchurch South Ralph Thorne, and candidate for Christchurch East Wilfred Abrams announced the party's proposed Integrity Commission bill. Speaking to the media at the opposition leader's office in the West Wing of Parliament, Marshall said the new bill would bring a host of changes and improvements when compared with the Prevention of Corruption Act, which had been on the books since 1929. While announcing the proposed bill, available on the party's social media channels for public consumption, I guess.
Yeah. Right. Well, the point is that this is so
that was 8 years ago today that it was posted in the media.
Oh, really?
September what? It was September sometime around now.
What time? What date again, Dave? Let's see the date.
19th.
Oh, November 19th. Almost.
You should have talked about this on the Friday show. It would be perfect.
The Friday show, right?
Bring it back up on the Friday show.
But I mean, Zico, I see you're a young man. and you are looking at something like this and you are laughing. You are laughing. I see you moving in your chair. This is what's promised. And they campaigned. This is what they campaigned on. I don't know if Dave can find anything else, but this is what they campaigned on. Dave, can we go back? Go back to the top of it, Dave, so people who come on can see what it's about. Go ahead, Zico.
Yeah,
What
this is exactly what we were saying. I know when I first heard of it, I was like, probably this is something I piggyback on because it's something that that the average citizen will love to see. So I was not even surprised when I look in the city there and I see 27. I mean, I laughed because I remember how I felt about it when I first heard it, and I was like, this is an excellent idea, but I don't understand the reason why they pushed it in the first place. So yeah, this is hilarious to me, and especially this. I know it was years, but I didn't know it was this long. That's the honest truth.
Let me hear the comment section here, Don, because you see, this is part of the challenge here that we're talking about voter apathy. This is part of it. And we're not seeing anybody, this is a problem. They make these promises, whatever party it is, right? They come in and they make these promises. This is when they were in opposition. They were saying this is what they're going to do, right? Loud and clear, front page. Let's hear what somebody said. A promise is a comfort to a fool. M. Gardner said false promises. Justin is said Marshall is leaving politics and that law is still outstanding. Right? Government can't be trusted. Carol said, how do these people sleep at night? I honestly feel they have insomnia. Some of you, how do they sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? Especially those of you who believed and you voted for it. How do you sleep? M. Gardner, you're right. Mr. Thorne has a responsibility on his hand if he or the DLP wins. Mr. Thorne, if you're listening, is this something that you will do? Or is it going to be a promise to a fool? Promise, as I say, promise is a comfort to a fool.
They had used the mistrust. They had used the mistrust of the people at that time against the government. We know the climate back then was that you can't trust the government. They run away with the money, they're stealing the money, they're building this and building that. So they used it for the campaign, and it was an excellent strategy. But now it's time to the city rabbit got the gun now. So what gonna happen? So what is gonna happen? I really hope that they get behind this, and the suggestion is an excellent suggestion, and it should be bring forth. No other laws passed until
and that's one of the things on the 27th, Saturday the 27th is what we want to be marching against, okay, or marching for, Don, is that this bill, this the same way they can do it in Cayman. I haven't researched anybody. Somebody sent this to me this morning. A professional person sent it to me this morning. I said, Marcia, take a look at this. Ryan Rock says, you hear lies that were lies that were lies. As I have been saying, this group have been telling lies from the beginning, even before they were in power. Somebody says the first time they see the AG look attentive. M. Gardner said in cap, liars, liars, liars. And it just makes us feel so annoyed. And before I read the article that Dave has on here, and I see Theory comes in, and I love to talk with the young people about these kinds of things because, the Barbados is yours. You're the present, you said leaders of tomorrow. You're the present leaders. But listen here, Don, I live to see that one of the persons that they wanted to lock up, one of the persons that Mia Motley and the BLP said that they were going to get locked up was Chris Sinclair. Who remember that?
Well, Mia Motley herself was the one that gave him a really good job. I think he's the Barbados representative to the World Bank. I believe that's his job.
Yes, but she
gave him that job.
She brought him close, and now it is being alleged that he is, working in particular constituency. He's a full-fledged member of the BLP now, and working very close with them to win the next election. And they have embraced Chris Sinclair, who was supposed to be locked up. You see this kind of joke that we, Zico, look
But
at
I think even before that, I think they had offered him to be a consultant. I think something along those lines to be a consultant even before he got the job.
Exactly right. And look at listen to me, but look at the one here in St. Philip that has just now been offered to be to sit on the crime what do you call it now, the crime advisory council, and not just to sit, but now Lashley is a co-chair. When I see, just to see him standing with her, it's just so shocking, because these are the people that were to be locked up.
It's a strategic move. It's a very, very strategic move. You know, you say, well, all right, cool. They're better allies than enemies. So why not? Let me pull you close here and make use of you before, you know. So come. We need you. I agree with it. It's a very strategic move. I like it.
Yeah, that is sad, man, because it just shows that they've lost so much confidence in their own party, and they see Mia Motley being in power that much longer that it makes sense for Chris Sinclair to help her campaign. It makes sense for Michael Lashley to not really align with the DLP and more aligned with her, because they know the fate, they know the future, they know that it's probably gonna be her again for the next 5 years. So it's just a sad reality.
So they basically look at and see the opportunities of what you're alleging.
Yeah, you may as well take the money while it's flowing.
But but we're focusing on them. But I'm looking at these, these Motley and Marshall and Bradshaw. They campaigned on locking up these people, and now they are working with them. Listen, look at this that Dave has on here. As I'm gonna Theory is coming in, and I think he will be listening, and then we're gonna bring him in the conversation here, because it's good to hear from you guys. Dave, can we see the heading of it? Thank you so much for finding this. It says Barbados Labour Party promises to enact integrity legislation from day one. Did you see that, guys? From day one, if elected, day one. And how many days has it been? How many days?
They probably mean next election. They were speaking to. It's probably next election. They are one for next election.
Listen. I tell somebody. You see, social media, Don, is a weapon formed against this party. Social media is a weapon formed against them, and it's prospering.
Well, don't put it like that. Just put it as a blessing to society on a whole, so that everybody can be more enlightened.
Very good. I love the positivity. It's a blessing for society. So, one of you going to read this for me. Read from it. It says, so go ahead, Dave. This is what date it says.
Zico.
Zico, what date it said?
Pardon me?
What date was it?
The 17th of November?
No, this one was 18th. This was November 18th.
Oh, you mean this one? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you want to read
the very next day.
The very next day. Read for me, Zico. See if you can see it, Zico.
Yeah. The following is the Barbados Labour Party's draft Integrity Commission Bill. We invite you, the members of the public, to commit to this bill, as we intend, after taking into account your suggestions, to have this enacted as a priority if we are granted the privilege of being elected in the forthcoming general election. Please note that all comments and queries will be held with the strictest confidence. If you need clarification of any point, please leave an email and we will get back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me bring Theory in here. Theory, good night, Theory. We're here laughing. It's not a laughing matter, but I don't know if you realize the date on this. Theory, this was November 19, 2017. And this was when this is from the opposition party, with the Barbados Labour Party, and they were going to enact this Integrity in Public Life bill the day after. Number one, once they got in, they would do it. It is still not law, and we're going into how many years now? We're going into 8 years. Don, is it 8 years?
Yeah, 8 years.
8 years. Let me hear your thoughts. Welcome, Theory. Let me hear your thoughts on this.
Good night, everyone. First of all, apologies for being late. Good
That's
night
all
to
right.
the fellow panelists. Thank you for having me. My thoughts on the matter is that we've seen over the period of time in recurring governments across the region and beyond that individuals do not want certain bills in place because it will place a spotlight on certain activities.
Mhm.
So I am not surprised. I do not expect much from any of the political parties pertaining to that because in terms of certain activities, it is a dangerous bill for those who may want to do wrong. And that is not speaking about a particular individual, that's just speaking about certain persons who may be a part of the 30, no matter what time period. So that's the reason we've had such a serious problem in getting the integrity bill into place. But you sent me something pertaining to Bermuda, and I believe that was a brilliant step. Can we do that in Barbados? I hope so. But I'm not sure if it will be done soon. And that's as much as I can say about that.
Yeah, but Terry, do you think I hear and I can hear the hopelessness? You're saying you don't, it's not going to happen. You can hear hopelessness in your voice. My question is, do you think that the citizens can demand this? Do you see a path where the citizens can demand that this kind of check and balance, or these checks and balances, that the Integrity in Public Life Bill would afford us, that it be in place and become law?
I believe so. It's just a matter of persons rallying together through the processes, like the march, even being active on the show, no, speaking to persons who may be associated to the persons who have the decision making power. But overall, I believe we need a whole system shift. The Westminster system is one that does not promote certain bills, such as the integrity bill. Look how long it took Britain to implement it. Over 50 years they were talking about it, and then they finally did it. So it's a matter of, yes, the public saying we need this, crying out, protesting. As like Mr. Nigel Newton, he says civil disobedience. So that's much of it. Much of it. I can say.
Yeah, yeah. Um, let me just hear from the before we move on to another topic. Let me hear from the viewers. Viewers, is this something that you believe that if the people of Barbados rise up and say we want this, we're not moving an inch until this is done? Do you think that that we could do it as a people? Let me hear your thoughts on this. I'm waiting to see some comments.
It definitely could happen, Marcia, through protests, through similar action to as going to Washington, D.C. about it. It definitely could happen.
Yeah, through protest. Yeah, well, yeah. Anything you were saying something, Theory?
I was agreeing with Don. I was there agreeing with Don.
Yeah, through protest. Is it something you think people your age would be interested in pushing something like this?
I don't know if you had seen the riots they had in Nepal recently that
Mm-hmm.
caused the prime minister to step down, and it was all Gen Z, even younger than millennials. So if a millennial is somebody 30 and over, Gen Z is even younger than that, and they burned down the entire Parliament building. Some of the politicians' houses, they went after everybody because they banned social media and overall corruption. So if we could take a page out of their book, that would be incredible. But Gen Z, they feel like they just have too much on their hands to worry about already. Everybody, even just worrying about where the next meal gonna come from, where they gonna get work, and it really drowns out the political issues in the country. They're thinking about themselves personally, so they don't even have time to complain or really study how awful the politics is.
Yeah, but Zico, when you look, sometimes I laugh when Don speaks because he's speaking serious things and just so casual about it. Nepal and the violence is just funny. He doesn't realize it's hilarious. But Zico, when you think about what the salary, I don't know if you saw, we did a show and we put up the salary that these guys are getting. And then what some of them, what is being alleged, some of these in government, what sometimes it is said that they're siphoning away, and the kind of contracts we're hearing that in St. Joseph. St. Joseph is being bought up by lots of these people. They're buying up lots of the properties in St. Joseph. I mean, a policeman is saying that let's look at the deputy prime minister, the prime minister. The prime minister was just flew to some country after me in Africa, where it was $11,000 US dollars an hour to fly there. And when you see the kind of life and what these people are living, why do you think that people are not even more enraged about the lack of integrity that these are willing to show society?
I think it just comes down to a lack of information. I mean, I don't think a lot of people are aware. I don't think a lot of people inquire, especially young people as well. I don't think they really inquire unless you're into politics and you have an app for this. You will go and you will seek certain information. But in terms of the everyday citizen, I don't think that they are aware. I don't think that they inquire enough where this is concerned. So, but it would be shocking to most. And for those who do understand, I think this is where then we start asking questions about how this person traveling, and was he travel allowance, and how they get this private jet, and why this allowance in this particular direction. And then, but for other people, I don't think people pay attention to the numbers enough. That's the honest truth. So they will always get away with it. Always get away with it.
They're getting away with it. And I did say I was going to read the comments, and I did not. Vihoy says change really starts with the people. Yes. CG says it could happen, but Barbados is 90% sheep. Oh boy. Justin said we should. VOI said no integrity bill, no voting. VOI said let's march on that. Pedro said not without violence. We're hoping that we would love for it to happen without violence. We would love, I for sure would love for it to happen without violence. Somebody said this information causing me real anxiety and embarrassment. Though. Yes. Laurie says it can happen if all of the people wake up. Change has to be has to be grassroots from the bottom to the top. I think it has to matter to all of us enough theory that we want to do something about it. I think that when we think of corruption, we see it as something that is, we talk about it, we can't touch it, we don't really understand how it impacts us. Before we move to the next point, the next thing that we want to talk about is the Airbnbs and so on, but entrepreneurship really. But I want to ask Don, how does corruption really affect the average citizen? How does it, is it something out there, nebulous, I can't really touch it? How does it affect people, an individual?
Well, it's really an indirect effect. So when we think about corruption, the easiest cases to think about are construction. Construction is one of the easiest ways to line your pockets as a politician. Let's say you send out a tender. You can say, we want to build a new QEH, just for this example. We're looking to spend around $100 million. Send in your bids for that amount. The people of Barbados is who foot in the bill for the $100 million, because we had to borrow that money from IMF or somewhere else, and we got to pay interest on it. So we, the citizens of Barbados, over the next 20 years, probably paying about $150 million by the time this interest is compounded and everything over the next course of the loan. So when all the construction companies come in with all the different bids. At the end of the day, the politician is probably going to take the bid that offers him the biggest kickback. So let's say the contract is still for 100 million, but that contractor is going to kick him back, let's say 20 million to his account he has here in Barbados and cash overseas, anything. So that $20 million is less work that the people of Barbados are going to have into that hospital. That hospital is worth $20 million less dollars. And that means that the people of Barbados aren't seeing the benefit of our $20 million worth of tax work. Just like when you build houses for low to middle income people, the corruption is that since the construction company had to give so much kickbacks, they have to spend less on each house. As we see in Barbados today, houses being built poorly, foundations cracking before people even move in, the plumbing mashing up before people even move in. These are direct symptoms of corruption.
Yeah. I see you're shaking your head, Theory. Anything you want to add to that? How does it impact the average person?
First of all, I want to say that don't hit it on the nail. But in terms of chain reactions, okay, so we're looking at the capacity of the coffers being able to impact or help persons, everyday individuals, right? So say corruption is at a point where it may be or may not be. What can happen is that, well, that means that if I'm on welfare, if I'm supposed to be able to get $500 in benefits, I'm only getting $2, right? Then what happens is then the same mother or father who is struggling to, pay the bills, do certain things, then they can't buy certain things for their child. So guess what? It becomes an argument, and the child says, "Man, I'm listening to you." Then the men on the block say, "Man, come and do this, come and do that," right? And the chain reaction goes on and on and on and on. So it's a trickle effect. I could give you more examples if you want, right? Another example, if I come and say, okay, I am going to, do what I do with corruption. No, because I'm a party faithful, I'm going to be able to say, "Oh man, let me move this money, et cetera, et cetera." And this is not pertaining to Barbados. I'm looking at other scenarios that I observed, right? This happened in like places like Nepal too. So what happened is that the party becomes more powerful, and then with the ability to have more money means that they will win more elections, right? The only reason that occurs and parties still fall is because, one, the people who want the other party, or two, they become so corrupt and their egos become so inflated that they forget to handle the small man and deal with the small man, right? So what's going to happen is that crime is going to raise, right? Then another thing is going to happen too is that then when schools ask for certain resources, they can't get the certain resources that may be technologically advanced to help persons who may be special needs or not be able to recognize certain persons who are special needs, but they're in advanced schools, that type of thing. And then guess what? They're lashing out, and the schools like, "Oh, superannuated, chain reaction. So it starts at the top. But the thing about it would hope, and I always believe, and I spoke to someone in the BLP about this, a young person. I said, "Why don't we come and teach the leaders, BRD, have a program in the party that can teach persons about the chain reactions one and how their power will affect individuals?" Because I realized, and I said, I'm 22 years old, but I realized, and I sat down from being around certain persons a little bit, that it's not that they're self-observed. For some individuals, is that they were never taught the process of sitting down and say, like, if I make this decision, how does it affect A, B, C, D, F, G? Some just don't care, but then there are some who care, but they make bad decisions, and then it goes from there. So it's a chain reaction. So when you are corrupt and corruption goes on, it affects everybody. It affects my ability to get certain licenses for vending, because the vending license can go. It affects the price of if we're looking at the social compact. Yeah, the social compact, instead of the social compact being 500 million, it could be 300 million. Then it affects the police, because the police can't get enough money to bring on more police. And when you can't bring on more police, then guess what? More crime, because you can't cover the different districts. So this just me spinning off the top of my head. So yeah.
And Zico, anything to add to that?
Yeah, what would just say if I, and to this again another twist, if I wanted to create the blueprint for how to corrupt a country, the first thing I would do is one, I would overgovern. I would try to make sure that I implement so much laws that I seem like the all-knowing, I seem like all-powerful, that eventually you relinquish your power. The average citizen eventually relinquish their power to believe that, you know what, I know best. Then eventually what I would then do is that I would put certain people in positions that I believe who could be a threat as my allies. I would take the loudest voices to be my PR. Then what I would do, then eventually I would try to have a hand into the policing system within Barbados, somewhere, somehow. Then after having the policing system, what I would then do is then I would then try to manipulate and pay and employ those who control certain communities within the country. Then from there, what I would then try to do is that I would then try to revamp the education system into a way that is easily submissive for the next generation to come and then trust in the government. Because if you look at it, is when we start looking at the government as God and as all-knowing, what happens is that we believe, you know what, they know best, they know what they're doing. And then what happens is that the citizens eventually lose the ability to see the agenda of that same said government. And they goes into it, you know what, we don't have any power. We can't make any change. Our voice is not going to count. Don't matter if you speak up on march, you ain't going to help. And then eventually become so powerless, and then eventually corruption eventually takes over, and then it becomes a cloud of darkness over your country where you wonder what happens, where did we turn around, where did we go wrong. So that would be my blueprint if I wanted to corrupt a country.
Wow. And you know, that when I listened to him, and it's actually my 22-year-old son who brought the whole thing of Nepal. I didn't know what was happening, and he said, "Mom, look at what's happening in Nepal," you know, and because the Gen Zs are into that, and funny enough, I mean, I think it has affected them so much, Don, that they felt the impact of corruption in Nepal, and then they reacted. And that's the thing about it. Will we feel it here? Is that when we would react? And that's why on the 27th of this month, the 27th of that's next week Saturday, not Saturday coming, next week Saturday, and I'm inviting all three of you to this march that we're going to be doing. And this is going to be the focal point of it. This integrity in public life will be the focal part of this march. There'll be other things we're marching about, but this is one of them. And I think that it is a step, and we might do this, but then there are others who can do other things. Okay, there are other types of protests. Go ahead, Theory, and you guys you're also awesome tonight. Go ahead, Theory.
Question. Y'all plan to stop inside of the square, or you'll have to wait to get permission on that? Permission for that.
Well, what we're doing when we get to the square, we park our truck on the outside, and we have a roadside parliament there. So we're there for like an hour, and it's an open microphone, and people just take the mic and they speak. And there was a time when Barbadians would not be willing to speak. We'd be standing there. You remember those days, Theory, and nobody would come and take the mic. Now we have to be telling them we can't. You know, they line up to come now. And it's very exciting to hear people expressing themselves. But this is something that I think that, you know, Don, as you said, we could really take on as citizens and really push for it, because we went into contract with this government that they were going to do that, right? And here it is, another election is coming and nothing is happening. But there's a law, though, that they're trying to pass right now. And this has to do with the Airbnbs. Anybody's read that? Anybody knows about it? Don, you know about it? Yeah, you're muted. While he's unmuting, anybody out there? Anybody out there have Airbnb? Anybody has Airbnb?
Yeah, so essentially what the law is saying is whether you have an Airbnb or not, once you have any kind of short-term accommodation being rented out, even if it's, you know, your cousin coming in and staying at your house for 5 days, and he's giving you a couple $100 for that.
Really?
Once you have any kind of short-term accommodation, you're gonna have to register and get a license for the government. They're gonna have to have an inspector come out to your house and make sure that everything is above board, and then they may or may not give you the license.
You sure? I honestly did not get a chance to read the whole thing. I just read what was in the newspaper. Listen, you all understood that was what it was. You all educating me tonight.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and there's a fine of $250,000 if you don't do it. You know how much drugs you got bring in, Marcia, to get fined $250,000? It almost made more sense to do that than to have an Airbnb.
God, I am so glad you're on the straight and narrow. I am so glad. I'm so glad you're my son and you don't do those things. You said that came off your tongue too easily. Terry, these are three of my sons here and they're good guys. Okay, don't follow Don. But listen, Don, repeat what you just said a while ago, because my head is these people, I don't know where they get up and they come with these things and they're getting ready to pass this, but they won't pass the Integrity in Public Life Bill, Barbados. Don, educate us about it, Don, and educate us.
About the same bill?
Yes, take it slow with us. Take it slow.
Yeah, it's essentially if you have any kind of short-term accommodation, whether if you renting out, like let's say somebody, Kate, was coming in for crop over and you just wanted to get like a 5 days rent from a room in your house, anything so, that would become completely illegal unless you had a license from the government. So you're going to have an inspector come to your house, inspect the property, and then it would also come with making sure that you're paying taxes. There are different daily taxes on different types of tourism products. So you're going to have to pay at least 10 US a night for the tourism levy and other taxes. And then again, the biggest fine, one of the biggest fines I've ever seen, $250,000 just up front, just no questions asked. It's not $250 per day that you're breaking the law. It's $250,000 one time.
What a million.
I really just think it's over policing a sector of society that could have been so prone to entrepreneurship. This government preaches that we're going to need to have a lot more entrepreneurs. And then when people try to go and be entrepreneurs, try to get a little side hustle going in the real estate market, now they start to over police it. So I think that it's really not necessary. They are so pressed on the average Bajan trying to make $1 that they have to tax all of them, while all of the big resorts get everything duty free. A lot of resorts come in here with 5 to 10 year tax holidays. Realistically, it has to be the hotels and resorts in Barbados that pressured the government to do this. We all know elections right around the corner, and the hotels and resorts probably told the government that we're not donating to your campaign unless you do something to help us. Because what this law is going to do is it's going to drastically reduce the amount of Airbnbs in Barbados. They have a lot of people in Barbados that will probably just go back to renting. If they had like an apartment or a room in their house, they might go back to renting that long-term to a Bajan. They're not going to be able to capture any of that tourism market because some of them might not pass the inspection for whatever reason. The inspector might take months to come. You see, with the government, you never know. There's so many things up in the air. So I really think that this was a play from the hotels and the resorts. They directly pressured the government. They said, listen, if we don't do something to try and curb this Airbnb and short-term market in Barbados, we are not donating to your campaign. If your campaign don't have money, then it can't win the next election. So I think that this was, yes, a lobby from the resorts to try to lower the amount of Airbnbs in Barbados. If they got less Airbnbs, people are going to have to stay in hotels.
Somebody said here that, I remembered, when Barbadians weren't doing this kind of thing, but they begged us to open up our homes for World Cup. You remember?
Yeah,
and now we're getting punished. No, we're getting punished. I mean, listen, I remember when my son was going to overseas to study, and I needed to do a little side hustle. because here it is now, he has to have an apartment, he has to have this, and so as families, you try to find something that is legal to do, and in my case, I was doing a little farming, but people do different things, Don, and we try to do legal things. Let me ask you, Zico, you're a businessman, you're an entrepreneur. What do you think? What's the message you think this is sending to entrepreneurs, people with their homes, they can't pay the mortgage high, and so they have to rent out, do the short-term rental. What is it saying to them?
I think on their part, it's very intentional in a way to frustrate the average Barbadian to decide, you know what, I offer this, I offer that, let me just go back to doing long terms. Because one, I personally believe.
Okay, are we missing him there, or is it me? Can you hear him?
No.
Not hearing him.
He's sticking.
Okay, go ahead. Pick up then. He might have to go out and come back in. Go right ahead. Let me put him out so he'll know to come back in. I send him a message. Go ahead. Theory. The same question to you. How old are you, Theory, again? 22?
Yes, he's 22.
You're 22 years old. And as a 22-year-old young man, a law like this, what does it do? What does it say to you? What is it saying to you?
It says to me that any major hustle that would affect, one, the bigger persons who are doing it, or if it's getting too big, we want to cut. That's what the government is doing. And I'm just putting it in layman terms, because in any society, right, or majority of societies, when something occurs, right, that the government is not getting a huge cutoff, or their associates are losing out, they always come and find some billion. It's across the board. You can look at any government, right? To use a perfect example, when the tech boom, the dot-com boom happened, the US hustled to figure out laws to make money off of Google and all the other companies that were growing. So, that's what happens, right? Is it right? It's 100% wrong, especially in a small market like Barbados. And the what do we call it? Not the salaries. The cost of living is going up, and your ability to sustain your lifestyle is not so good. So the thing about it is that that's what's happening, and I believe persons who are directly affected by this should protest, speak out, write letters, that type of stuff. Because at the end of the day, as I always preach, you need to have multiple incomes to survive in Barbados, and doing this limits that.
Somebody has here, Don, vote Barbadians, vote. The country needs you. You think something like this would move Barbadians to vote, Don? Or not really?
I would love to think so. The reality is, a lot of people in my age group really don't see the point in voting. I find that the biggest problem that I see personally when I walking around the streets talking to people is that people don't think that there's going to be change. People think, oh, well, the other party was in power, they were so bad. This party in power is so bad. Another party come in, they can be so bad. So people have just lost interest in the entire process. On a whole, they think that it don't matter who in power, they ain't gonna get anything, they ain't gonna get any help, they ain't gonna get any assistance. So it's just got people are just feel lost, they feel forsaken, and they really don't think that their one vote is gonna shift the needle meaningfully.
And when you combine this, Don, along with I don't know if you saw what is being, they're inching to propose something for Swan Street, because did you guys see that they went to Swan Street? I don't know if Dave has that one to put up, because it's like they are just throwing everything at us. So here you have families, you have young men, because I saw a lot of young men that look like you guys out there, and they're selling juices, and they're hustling in the hot sun, sweating, right? And working hard on Swan Street when Saturday comes, or even the week. And now they have gone up there to say that, you know what, there's a fire hazard because there are too many of them on the street. However, there are only probably about 2 stores there in Swan Street that have multiple doors that you could exit if you're in there and there's a fire. So the whole street is a fire hazard, not just the people on the, but even the one door stores. But here it is that they're saying to those vendors on Swan Street that guess what? You are creating a fire hazard. You saw that, Don. What are your thoughts about that? How do you compare that with what's happening here with the Airbnb and those who are renting out their homes on a short-term basis?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert in fire safety. I can't say whether it was or was not a hazard. It possibly could have been. Maybe they were over exaggerating. But it is a crackdown on entrepreneurship in all of its different forms. We've seen even coconut vendors on the highway. They've been moved from wherever they were. So any kind of entrepreneurship, from the small man just selling coconuts on the side of the highway, to now the vendors on Swan Street, to now even the more sophisticated entrepreneurs that had real estate trying to do it. It's a crackdown on all of the different trades, all of the different hustles that the everyday Bajan has. And they really, really, really want to make sure that they're collecting taxes from you at every turn, at every corner. And the beauty that this has that they can hold over us is that if at any given time, if you have to have the license to do all these things, it can easily be revoked. If you need a government license to do this, to do that, to do the next, you can need to keep up with all the inspections. And then that's where the same corruption we were talking about could come into play. You could have you could tell the inspection officer of whatever business that, oh, this man's license needs to go. Find a way to revoke the license. And that could be a new form of corruption with all of these different licenses.
Wow, that's excellent one there, Don. That's excellent, because some people might say, "What if you could just go and get the license?" The thing is, having how often you're going to have to renew it, and then that's where the corruption. You give somebody a little something under the table because you want to. Oh my Lord, Zico, you were making a point before you disappeared on us.
I don't understand. My whole wife went boom. Yeah, I was saying that I believe it was intentional. I believe that there was advice by a financial institution, probably one that they probably got a loan from, to say try to optimize your tourism industry and extract as much money as possible from your tourism industry. And I believe one of the ways that they decided to do it is because that the Airbnb trend is going up and it is competing and it is hurting the hotel sector. Not just in Barbados, but worldwide, because it's much cheaper and they get much more value out of it. So I was not surprised. And it's also to frustrate the man that decide, you know what, I got a spare bedroom, I can try to make a little dollar on this side. I believe it was to frustrate him to decide, you know what, let me just abort this mission. And then two, what he was also going to mention, but he mentioned on it, is that once again, when you over police and you over govern, you could then shut down who you need to shut down, or you could just deny who you need to deny. It comes back down to the same thing we was talking about in terms of corruption. How would you keep people in check? How would you make people scared? Boy, I don't want to lose it. I don't want when the inspector come, you tell me that I know my thing deny it. I don't want to know it. So at the end of the day, it brings a level of fear and it brings a level of, you know what, I have to comply. If not, I at risk of losing my business. Just like I had mentioned earlier, even in terms of registering a business right now, there's some people that cannot, they pay the money, the money was accepted, and up to now, they cannot get the finalization of their business. They're saying, oh yeah, there's a long waiting list, there's a long this and that, but we can get back to you, you're calling, you can't get through, you know, you're going in and saying, well, yeah, there's a long wait. I mean, this is months and years. So I know for a fact that it's to instill fear into those, to say, well, you do have something to lose and you do have to rely on the government. You can't go there and say, well, I can sell something on the side of the street, or you can't go there and say, well, I can make money from home. I need to have my hands in it one way or the other. One way or the other. I need to instill fear in y'all to let y'all know y'all just can't be out there just talking like that. And for me, for instance, my business is a concierge business. I work a lot with Airbnbs and what's not, so I know what I'm talking about. So when it comes to the fact that a lot of people leaving all-inclusive hotels and say, you know what, I spend 2 weeks. I don't need a hotel where you can just sit pina coladas. Gonna just roam the country, get tour guide, gonna roam the country and I hit a couple local shops. So it's intentional by the government. It's very intentional by the government.
Wow, wow, wow. But you know what? The other thing, Don, I know Don, you guys tell me when you have to leave. You know, I love to chat with you all, but you know, it's they have also the car rental levy. You remember that? There's also the car rental levy. If Dave could look in his WhatsApp and put that one up quickly while I have them here, because you know, you guys are young entrepreneurs. Everybody here, I believe, have a side hustle. Everybody here, right? Theory in school, and Terry. Terry, we won't tell out your business, but these are serious young men here. These are serious young men here. Terry is at school. When we used to go to school, Don, at UE, well, when I was in Jamaica, you just go to school. You know, it's only in America people have hustle there and going to school. You go to school, you go to school. You know, boy, you go to school and you have a business, and your parents won't be allowing that. You know, they just want you to get distinctions and so on. But here it is. You have a lot of our US students. They have to do something. Don, you're a CPA, but I know you're doing lots of other legal things that you're doing, right?
Endless things.
Don, I can't talk about your business. You have to talk your own business. And Zico have hustles going on, you know, right? Zico not doing one thing, you know. But here it is. Here we go again. Car rental levy. Now, what's happening is that a lot of people are renting out their cars, right? They're renting their cars, and here it is. So, anybody want to discuss this one? Dave, pull it up a little bit so we can read some more, because the BHDA they're offering suggestions, because they've put it back to October 1st, right? Sarah, you want to read for us? You haven't read it yet. The Barbados Hotel and Tourism.
No problem. The Barbados and Hotel Association is urging government to act on alternative proposals to its $10 a day car rental levy put forward by the association before the October 1st starting date for its imposition. Sorry. The levy contained in Barbados 2025 to 2026 budget, originally due to take effect on July 1st, was subsequently pushed down to October 1st. However, BHDA Chairman Javon Griffith told the association's third quarterly meeting at Hamas Market on Friday the proposed tax threatens to price visitors out of car rentals, especially long-stay guests. He contended the levy would have a ripple effect, since fewer cars rented would mean fewer visitors exploring Barbados restaurants, attractions, and communities. The impact does not stop at the rental desk. It cascades through the economy, Griffith warned. Come on, please. Well, that's it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The BHDA chairman revealed that the organization had not only raised its concerns, but had also tabled three suggestions for government consideration, to which there had so far been no response. The first suggestion was to replace the daily charge with a single flat fee per contract. The second, to reduce the tax to $5 per day. The third, to exempt long-stay visitors to the island. Griffith insisted the BHDA suggestions were practical, balanced alternatives that met environmental goals without damaging Barbados' competitiveness as a tourist destination.
Yeah, I think we got the point. Thank you so much. But I'm going to Don first. Don, they seem to be following the same trend here. Not to you? What are your thoughts? Let me not put any words in your mouth. Let me hear you.
It's all about just controlling the entrepreneur. So I feel like they set us up to fail. For the last couple of years, they've been saying, oh yeah, you might not have a job, try to get a side hustle, try to be an entrepreneur. Let's push this entrepreneurship thing. So now that they've been doing that, they've been feeding us that goal. Now that everybody is trying to do it in some form or fashion, whether it be through renting cars, whether through selling coconuts, whether it's through renting real estate, Now they're like, we got you now. We told you to set up all these businesses and everything, and now we're making sure we come in for the tax. We're making sure we come in for the regulation. If you wasn't doing anything above board, you completely shut down. And it's tough. It's disheartening. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, well, if you're not doing anything bad, you shouldn't. You should be able to be okay. You should be able to get all these licenses." But anybody that's dealt with government know that it's not as easy as it seems to get any kind of license to do with government. So that I really think that this is just going to become another way that the government is corrupt in the terms of issuing these licenses. Only certain people can get certain licenses to do certain things. Let's say I don't know how much it is. There's a website called AirDNA that you can check. But let's say, for argument's sake, there are 600 Airbnbs in Barbados right now. What's to stop the government from saying, okay, well, we can only choose 50 people to give licenses to? What can happen to those other 550 people? You know what I mean? Because that is the overall goal of the bill, to drastically reduce the amount of it. You could even do that with coconut vendors as well. Suppose there are 100 people right now. Government would be like, all right, well, we only picking we favorite 10 people. So that then the market now is being run by somebody loyal to the party. That's how the government corruption works. So I don't really think that the criticism is on regulating things themselves. Obviously, regulation is good to a certain extent, but it's how the government is going to use this newfound power of being able to regulate all these various industries to their advantage and to their supporters' advantage.
Wow. Theory, any thoughts while we ask people to call in? Remember the line, this is your time to call in. I know these gentlemen, they have work tomorrow. They're going to still start relieving me. But those of you who can call in, what are your thoughts? Want to hear about you? Somebody says, here, love, fear, love, fear, love, fear. Can you imagine they're controlling up to the entrepreneurs? They're controlling, which is supposed to be the life that we can breathe life in this economy again. And they're controlling them. Theory, what your thoughts are?
I think that Mr. Griffith, the chairman, he looking at the article, reading the article, he made some very good contributions and suggestions. So I don't know as why, but as was suggested by Zico and also done to maybe a reason, certain pressures. So is what it is. The only way to stop it is what we've done with the cybercrime bill, what we've done pertaining to I can't remember what they call it, where it's happening, bill. So we have to keep that pressure on, because at the end of the day, when it all said and done, the Prime Minister is going to go on her podium and she's going to mention organizations like this, and also such as the NNP and that type of stuff. So we just have to keep the pressure on, because via her announcements, we know it's working. So you have to keep the pressure on.
Yes. Zika, you see any similarity with this and the other, and the all of these bills and levies and all these things? You see a thread running through it?
Yeah, I think I think for them, is that they're trying to get as much money out of tourism as possible. How can we tax the people, making it look like we taxing the people? And that's what it is. That's basically what it is. How we can get this money? And I think they're looking at things like these. But let me show you why this is so dangerous for Barbados and its tourism industry. Because if I have an Airbnb, my prices now have to go up. If I have a rental car business, my prices now have to go up. Everybody don't know, and the world know, that Barbados is a very expensive destination to come.
Yeah, he's stopped again. I think people
Already stuck again.
Yeah, people are saying, in the meantime, guys, please, you can call in. I see a lot of people are commenting. This is affecting a lot of people, because we're seeing the trend that, okay, we have a call. There's a call coming in. Let me take this call here. Good night. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show.
Hi, good night, Marcia.
Yes, good night. Can we hear him? Are you hearing him?
Yeah.
I am so happy that I was able to get on early now tonight.
Yes, sir.
And I'm so glad that you actually have the young people on today.
Oh,
This is
really?
great.
You heard that? You heard that, guys? They're happy to
No.
have the young people on. They soon leave me.
Yeah.
They don't stay too long, but let's see. Go ahead.
Yeah, let them stay as long as they can. But
Yes.
for this Airbnb business, I remember I think it was up to sometime last year. I was actually looking after a property for a friend of mine, and he had turned it into Airbnbs, and all of a sudden he got a message from Airbnb telling him that he needs to send his Tamis number. Just into the blue. So it wasn't a talk in Barbados yet. The government didn't mention to nobody anything about this thing yet. And all of a sudden, what he do, Airbnb want a Tamis number. And because my friend, he refused to send his Tamis number. So they actually cut the service.
Oh, wow.
So this was going on for a while. It is just now that this Prime Minister decides she has to make money from it. For what reason? The only reason it can be is for what one of your many has said, to keep the hoteliers happy. Agents need to wake up, realize that these people are for the rich and not for the poor. Every time she gives the rich people something, the only thing she gives poor people are laws, regulations, fines. You will find yourself in court. You will be kept poor. Agents need to wake up and stand up against this nonsense. She is the worst thing that ever operated as a PM here in Barbados. Trust what I tell you. Anyhow, young men, I'm glad to see you all on. And it's all men supporting Marcia tonight. Thank God.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much, caller. Thank you for calling. Thank you. Very well said. Guys,
You're welcome.
the lines open. Thanks again. The lines open. Please call. You know something he said? He said, listen, can anybody remember? He said, we're giving them taxes and all they give us is laws. Is that what he said? He said there's a lovely line he gave. What he said, Don? Open your mic. I'd close your all mic because sound was coming through. Open your mic. He said.
Right. He said well, he give the rich people concessions and all he give the poor people is laws.
Yes.
Something along those lines.
Right. Yes, we give them. He gives them right. They get concessions and all we get is laws. It's really true when you even think of the coconut vendors. You know how they took them from at the top, bottom, and put them all on this thing high up there. No, the tent is gone, and the guys are back down there selling the thing in their hands. You know, I mean, it's so easy to encourage them, give them a little encouragement. That's what did in Bahamas, you know, to the coconut vendors in Bahamas. I don't know if Dave can put that up. But I love that what that caller said. There's another caller calling. Caller, welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show. Great to have you. Go right ahead. Yes, good night.
Which is the Young Masters for tomorrow. My name is Tony Hall. The call that no call, I agree with him for 100%. And another thing too, for all these laws that are getting passed down, up to now, I ain't hear a law passed down that people should be fairly considered to get jobs and etc. That's one thing. I ain't hear a bill passed, you know, giving free bill of government welfare to people that really in need. There's a lot of things about this government is very sinister. If the LP know that they're not for the poor, step aside. Let Democratic Party come in and do what they have to do, which is a positive and a great thing for the poor people, and carry this good barriers forward to the highest level. Because how we see with this Barbados Party government, trust me, we in a serious dark evil crisis right now. even to go more further.
Yes. Hello?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yes, wonderful. I mean, very good contribution. A lot to think about. And thank you for calling.
Okay, blessings to everyone. I'll be about to steer this shit about Sylvia.
You're going to come out to the march on the 27th?
Of course. You know, I'll always be there.
Yes, well, looking forward to seeing you.
Pardon me?
Looking forward to seeing you.
Well, I would love to bring out all Barbados, but as if the Barbados will got the strength to hold my hand and come out and let me stand for world's right. I was like,
yes. Thank you so much. You know, look at that screen there. Look at that screen. It says, now we see there is a reason for all those new hotels being built on the island. Oh my God.
Marcia, I gotta run though.
I know.
But I want to I just want to end with underscoring that point. This Sandra Charles, that was a perfect comment just to underscore the point. Now we see there's a reason too for all those new hotels. Who do you think that this government are going to be loyal to? All these hotels that are being built on the island. What did we just talk about was the easiest way for politicians to line their pockets? All of this construction. This government boasts of having 7 resorts, all being built at the same time. One, do we really need all these new resorts? Wasn't the Airbnb economy in Barbados actually providing good tourist accommodation while giving the everyday Bajan money in their pocket? But the tourism industry, the big players in the tourism industry, told this government, if you don't do something to curb this rising Airbnbs, we're not going to finance your campaign coming up. It's all about elections. All the BLP is in election mode. All of these laws that they've tried to pass, from the cybercrime straight through, all these laws terrorizing citizens are to put you in fear and just to make you scared. So citizens of Barbados, really, really think about it. Think about how hard that they're trying to push the agenda onto the citizens, and y'all really need to think about everything that is being said on the Marcia Weekes Show. We really need to applaud people like Marcia that stick her neck out on the line, hosting these shows, hosting these marches, everything she does to try to wake up the citizens of Barbados, and we can't thank her enough for it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Don, for joining as well, and keep doing what you're doing. Keep safe, and say a big hello to your mom.
Yes,
and that special friend for me. Okay.
All right, sounds good. All right, Zico, Terry, see y'all later.
All right. Okay, wonderful. Listen, guys, Sandra Charles have my head here spinning right now. Zico, I think I actually did not. I was busy doing a whole nother research for the show tonight, and I did not spend a lot of time on this topic. But this here is very deep, Sandra Charles. Come to the front of the class. Yeah, this one have me seriously thinking. You guys have been saying it for the whole night, but the way this is put, because the Airbnb would put all of them out of business. They would not need those hotels, Zico.
I am telling you, especially for mostly all-inclusive resorts, most of them was complaining that they have to now compete with Airbnbs. So if you're getting ready to build new resorts, you gotta deal with it somehow. And if you want to frustrate people to say, I done with that, I'll bow to the market so you don't be that competitive, this is the best way to do it. Tax them. And then not only that, and then we also have some hotels coming into the city. So what we need to do, we need to gentrify the city. So we need to make it look a little more appealing. So what we can do, we can get rid of everyday man off the streets. If you go store, leave.
You have to get rid of the vendors, because if they could find the Pierhead project, is going to be like what we see down in St. James there, Lime Grove. These are these beautiful, it's not the little man selling on the side of the street. So they have, we're going to sit down and let this happen. We're going to allow them to change our Barbados. And what happened to us? It's like it just like hitting me. You're going to tell me they're going to mash up the Airbnb business because they're building up these big hotels? Wow, Theory.
Now, the thing about it, right? And that's why I always said once it finishes this degree, will try to go in the middle of the degree so it could be a lobbyist, right? When it comes to certain things like this, you need a lobbyist on your behalf. And in the US and other countries, they have lobbyists that can do certain things, but it needs to be a lobbyist for the poor people, right? Someone who is not politically inclined, and you can use different descriptions pertaining to that, but the Airbnb persons or small businesses need to find some way to form their own organization and start to play the same game with the hoteliers. That's the only way out we can see pertaining to the solution, but also looking at civil disobedience as well. They need to form their own organization as soon as possible and find some sort of lawyers that will want to do it on a pro bono or a reduced rate and attack. Right? That's the honest to God truth. Because if they don't come together, God help them and the goose good.
Yeah. I always knew Ryan and Terry and Zico that there was a plan for Bridgetown. And I saw that with the when they talked about the vendors and talking about this, fire hazard. And not that, I mean, I believe if there's a fire hazard, there's a fire hazard. I'm not going to be irresponsible about that. I'm saying work with the vendors and get it fixed. It's not a thing where you're going to just get up and move them, right? But I never connected the Airbnb and the new hotels. I never did until a while ago. That light bulb through you guys and Sandra went off, right? But this is the plan. I want to look at this as a plan, and a lot of Barbadians feel very proud about this. Make them feel very proud, right? And this is what it looks like now. But Dave, if you could go to what the shops and so on, what they're saying that it's going to be, right?
I never saw this video, but I can guarantee you ain't gonna see a clip of Swan Street.
You understand? but they're showing us what it is. But Dave, you remember you had one that had all the shops? I don't know if you can find that one. And when you see these shops, guys, it does not look like town. It looks like Lime Grove. I don't know if Dave can find that one. Right?
Marcia, well, Dave looks for it.
Yes.
Can I say something?
Of course.
Marcia, right now, this is chess. And it is upsetting, right? But it makes me know how to think about, things that you would say don't be paranoid, man, that's not connected. But when you look at it, it actually connected, So we as individuals got to sit down and really study ourselves and see the strategy, because everything connected. So some person might say, man, that fire hazard thing, not just because is a fire hazard, but it could be connected, we just ain't seeing it. There's a game that's being played, and really and truly, right, I ain't saying that we losing. I just want to say, right, that right now there are steps ahead, and we need to start to connect the dots, even if they call us conspiracy theorists, etc. We gotta start connecting dots and prepare, because we can't keep waiting for when they're going to send a law to Parliament, and then we start to react. We gotta be so that, Marcia, I ain't be really right. It's just me pretending calling you. I think something coming, and etc. You're not saying you're being paranoid. Just you're preparing yourself, because the signs are there, and there are signs. It's just that they're so not together. They seem so separate.
Yes, theory.
You know what I'm saying? That is be like.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know what comes to mind, Zico? I don't know if you guys are aware, but right there at the old General Hospital, do you know there's actually, guys, an article, a newspaper article by a historian, that the day after the BLP got into power, the day after that place was gutted by fire, they had the first fire in that place. the same place that was given, hospital that was given over to the bank, to the Afrexim Bank.
Yeah.
You can call me a conspiracy theorist all you want, but there's something to it. Not only that, fire, it was hit with fire 2 or 3 more times after that. In fact, leading up to when they came in, fire hit that place again, gutted the place. I went there with my camera.
And they don't forget it. Don't forget to also, even opposite, they didn't want Savvy Beach. They wanted to eradicate that, talking about car park. They wanted just for a car park.
For a car park when it was to give to the Afrexim Bank. So that you're very well right. They probably want to. They talk about fire and then they burn out the whole place and the people have to run, because that's what they did. That's what I believe is my opinion. That's what they did to the old hospital before it was handed out. They wanted to lose all the records. Us to say, oh, it's a derelict building. Nobody wants it anymore. And it was gutted when I went there, gutted out by fire. And then put on top of that, move the fire station inland away from where the people were. Did you see that? Sometimes we believe we have leaders that are going to be, having our interests at heart, but these people could really be planning for us. Terry, you're right. Yeah, go ahead, Terry.
There's a movie that I want everyone to watch, right? And it has become one of my favorite movies. It's something that Lumumba told me to watch. It's called The Spook That Sat at the Door.
The Spook
That Sat at the Door. One of the most powerful movies I ever watched in my life. And when I need certain advice, I go back to it. The idea of the movie, right? The idea of the movie, right, is that this guy, he was called Uncle Tom. Because we have some more things. He was called Uncle Tom. He was trying to get in the CIA, so they called him a traitor, etc., etc. So, long and short of the story, he learned everything he could learn from the CIA, and he went back to the community and formed a group to fight against the American government. Watch it for yourself, you can see, right? And take your time and really watch it. What I'm trying to say, right, with the spook that started the door, is the reverse of it. We have persons who are coming to the poor people and presenting themselves as, someone that you could trust, etc., etc. But then on the back end, they are really working for the other person, right? There's certain derogatory terms that we have in Barbados for persons that are like that, black persons are like that, which we will not use. But the thing about it, right, is that we have to understand that those individuals are not for us, and what can we do to rectify it? Right? And don't watch it say that I said watch this book on the door and I'm trying to incite violence. That's not the idea of the movie. The movie is focused on how a person can learn all they can from a community and gentrify it, elevate the community. So we are seeing a situation whereby the person may be black as me and you, but they're surrounded by who they're surrounded by. They want to be in the alcove, who they want to be in the alcove. And it's not a particular individual, and they're going to do what they can to satisfy that desire of those individuals, black or white, but in a higher class or the elite, right? So don't watch that movie. There's a book I want you to read, a book that you will like, right? There's a book called Weapons of Mass Instruction, right? When you speak, the thoughts that you have remind me. I don't know if you read it before. I should already ask if you read it before, but the thoughts that you have align with what that book is saying, right? So when you get a chance to read that book. Right? And there's certain things
next, even with that, next thing to Marcia, if you look at the properties, what part Bay Street, where Larry Dash is, look at every single business or establishment that was there before it eventually moved all the way down to the bank, turn all the way to the bank. Say it's vacant, right?
Yes.
If you speak to even some of the owners, previous owners before, why they moved, they will tell you. Or why they had to move, they will tell you. All of a sudden, there was a uptake in rank. The only people currently right now is a family, Chicken Barn, and Larry Dash. and Larry Dash and Sons and Joanna Dash, Miss White people, right? That have their property still. Every other person that had their business or establishment, they eventually had to move. Because all of a sudden there was an uptake in price. And if you had to go inquire it, saying that you wanted to rent the spot or you wanted the spot for whatever the case is, you cannot get it. Don't matter what, you cannot get it. Go and ask some questions. Go and ask some questions and ask, I can get this spot here vacant. Can I use this particular area right here? How much it would be? Cannot.
Wow.
Cannot.
This is very, I mean, guys, you're educating me here tonight. Terry, you're onto something there. And before we go off, I want us, even if it's a few minutes, to talk about the president, Lieutenant Colonel Bostic, he's nominated to be the president. And I just want to hear, as young people, your thoughts on that. But we have a caller on the line. Good night, caller.
Good night to the panel. I can say that your panel sounds like, or behaving like, you know how when you watch National Geographic, you see those wild dogs take apart a big animal.
Yes.
So where I'm going with this is that two things, very simple. All Bajans, young and old, research what is soft despotism, research what is hard despotism, and understand that it appears that on the ground, the social climate, looking on, it seems like there's a rush to implement hard despotism. But before it gets to that, soft despotism is what's being used. And this is spilling into how and why the president is even chosen. And not necessarily only because of family, don't let's, as the Barbadians, don't let's get twisted. For a country to start implementing dictatorship-like legislative drafting and is a supposedly declared democracy, there's lots of things that have to be done, and a quick word in terms of the reversing or the reordering of the social climate on the ground to happen. That is why you are seeing a lot of these bills being passed in Parliament, and most of the people are clueless because by the time that they're done fetting and partying and stuff, Barbados will be a whole different place, and the social climate on the ground will be almost completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And to end, all I'm saying is that going into your next point, the reason why things are being done the way they are, I'm going to leave it at this. They're just going to do their homework. They're very intelligent people. Research what is soft despotism, understand what is hard despotism.
Mm-hmm.
And all that you have seen since the government took office is something called soft despotism. And they showed their hand as it relates to when you had to go and defend the cybercrime bill in, was it Washington, was it?
Yes.
Right. So they meaning the governance strategy, showed their hand that Socratically this is the way they're going. And spitefully so, when a system is stopped at doing what it wants to do as it relates to the completion or the maturation of despotism, it then went into manic, high speed manic mode in putting all sorts of like smaller tenets of like holy wild dogs I referred to earlier in the thing into action, be it the wiretapping, be it the digital ID card, be it all those, because it's almost like in Bajan dialect or Bajan parlance, you say, there's more than one way to skin a cat. They say that. There's more than one way to skin a cat, right? Or your feet, or in Bajan, they say your feet are bad, you know, so that kind of thing. So the government is almost like saying, when I feel when I'm bad, I don't sure wonder who really got the power now. So lastly, research what is soft despotism, research what is hard despotism, and understand in a democracy you go soft before you go hard, except if you just want to put outright hard despotism and just shove it down to people's, as the British to say, craw bags.
Yeah.
That is all I have to say. That's enough. That's more than enough to chew.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for calling. Always a pleasure. Go right ahead, Theory. You're muted. You're muted.
The honorable gentleman is right. He's absolutely right. But a phrase that will add to that about Bayesian paradox is that the prime minister or honorable prime minister has a phrase: one blow kills all cow. So the Bayesian mentality and the Bayesian living is the all cow. So one blow kills the all cow. But what it will add to that as well is that we as a people, yes, you asked me about the president, how I feel about the president. But we as a people have to keep our foot on the gas in terms of stopping the rise of what they're doing, right? We also have to keep our foot on their necks to control them as much as possible as the persons who place them in government. Person may see that as a disrespectful analogy, but the thing about it is exactly the situation because people are the person who's supposed to have control, not the 29 or 30 persons in parliament. Now, pertaining to President Mr. the Honorable Jeffrey Bostic, our future president, I would say if I had to choose an individual, I would choose him. Right? Persons may not agree with me, but given that it was a choice between the opposition leader and our prime minister, I think that it was a fair choice, and hopefully in the future we can potentially be a good president. No, we can look at the fact that obviously he is a certain faithful of certain individuals, so be it. But the thing about it is that who are the other options, right? I heard talk about the senator, can't remember her name.
Liz Thompson.
Liz Thompson. And be quite frank, I would not like that at all, and I will leave it there.
My thing is this, right? I totally disagree. And if I was the opposition leader, I would oppose this. Reason being, right? I think we playing checkers while other people playing chess. Think 3 or 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead. There's no way that somebody being part of a party decides to step down for whatever reason, and this is not even a personal attack against them, it's just the process of it and the conflict of interest where this is concerned.
Okay.
There's no way that a person decides to step down from their position for whatever reasons they give, and then later on reappointed as a president. I can't believe that nobody don't see this as a conflict of interest, and this has nothing to do with his character as an individual, but you appointing someone who had serious affiliations, who was actually a minister. If in the last term, a minister now to be your president, and you're wondering, but what if this dictatorship or what's not? I'm not saying that he probably will be. Probably he's a good man, great man. I do not know. I have a problem though, is when we affiliating people who was heavily affiliated with parties. So I think it should be a non-biased, non-affiliated individual being the president. And I also think the president should be voted in by the masses and not just by the party, by the two parties or what's not. Or by the mercy of who decide to select to also help me vote me in the president. I don't believe that it should be like that.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Theory. I'm going to let you guys go at it. Go ahead, Theory.
I agree with you, Zico. Don't get me wrong. If you heard when we did the community segment, Marcia, I 100% agree with you. Everything you said, I could go into the type of system of parliament I would love. But the thing about it, if I had to choose between, this is what I was saying, if I had to choose between Liz Thompson and Jeffrey Bostic, that was the options, right? Because the prime minister has the right to choose the selection, right? I would choose Jeffrey Bostic. Liz Thompson, in my eyes, is not a president of Barbados.
Once again, I think we're playing checkers while other people playing chess. If I pick somebody that everybody despises to get what you really want, I mean, seriously, I think we need to stop thinking like this, rather than saying, well, I rather the lesser of the two evils, and actually go for what's the best option for the country. And I think that's what we're doing right now. Most people can say, man, ain't nobody there to vote for, so I'm voting. You understand? Because really and truly, for what's being presented, no, it's different. Speak, let your voices be known. I think that if we say it's a real democracy, we need to vote for the president. I don't think that I agree with the president picking somebody who was a former member of our party then to be president too. I mean, that means you just carrying an agenda. It's not even 10 years going yet. I mean, it's not even 2 terms going yet. You still picking somebody that was a part of your cabinet. I mean, like, serious. I totally disagree with this. And I have nothing against the former minister. I heard very great things about him, but I don't agree with the process. I do not agree with the process.
I 100% agree with you. I don't like the process as well.
But I still don't believe that you put in a Trojan horse so you could pick.
So, go ahead, Terry, and then let me make a point.
No, Marcia, you can make your point. I guess we kind of go ahead.
Yeah. I see where both of you are coming from. Today I went and I did some research. I don't have it to hand right now who they are, but there are well, let me establish this, that what they have done with the amended constitution theory is that they have all they did with it was really just to remove the governor general and made the governor general's role that of the president. Okay, that's what they did. And I sent it to Dave. I sent the amended constitution, which is not the Republican constitution, but it's the amended constitution, so that we can continue living, right? And so if you look at past governor generals, the past governor generals, they were usually appointed by whomever is in power, right? Then they would appoint the governor general. The governor general would usually be in as governor general until death. They stay there. This one, I think it's 4 years, or 4 or 5 years. Thank you, Theory, that they remain in power. So not power, but they have the position. So if you imagine president, whoever was governor general, whatever the governor general used to do, or however they were appointed, the president is now being appointed that way. Basically is what has happened. So we haven't changed anything much, Zico. That's the problem, because we never voted for the governor general, remember, right? So they just switch word. It's just words. It's not any real republic, We just switch. So that president really is doing the work of the governor general. They visit the people that turn 100. If you notice, the last president, that as brilliant as this woman is, she didn't do, we didn't feel her presence in the country. And she was even very disrespected. I'm going to talk about that in another show. So what I'm saying too is that, Zico, over the years, they have had at least 2 governor generals who were in some time in the past were members of parliament. But the difference, though, is that it was many years.
Time.
Right. So
that's
less
why than 2 terms.
Yes. So that's why I say that I understand both of you, where both of you are coming from, because I would be puking if it was Liz Thompson. I would be puking myself. I'm telling you, because when I think of her name, I want to puke, and I don't care. That's the way I feel about it, and I'm being honest because of what I've seen her done and how she behaves. It's atrocious. So in that sense, I'm glad that it wasn't her. So I breathe a breath of relief, but I could see where Zico is also coming from. I also think this is a good man because, he resigned because I think, what happened during COVID with the vaccine scam, you remember that? And they were calling his name, that his officers who, procured, but tried to procure vaccine. And he said, not me. He told Santia and he told the prime minister, not me. It's not me. And then a few months later, could be up to a year, then he left. He left completely.
So let's say this, Marcia.
Hold a minute. I think Theory had his hand up. Go ahead.
Zico, you go ahead. Then I want to explain, because I want us to be very clear. I am in agreement with you, but I'm just looking at what is present, and then I'm going to share you with my thoughts on what could be and should be for Barbados. So go ahead.
Go ahead, Zico.
Right. What he was saying, you said he resigned. I know that, as I said, I still believe that people playing chess where he's concerned. I believe they tell him hold his seat until they're ready to appoint you in a position that they don't got my eyes on for you. The people respect you. I believe that. So what are they going to do to make sure that it is not opposing the choice? I'm going to put somebody. You feel me? I don't know that everybody resent that other woman. You really believe that? So, of course, he would have been a better option. That's just psychology 101. you put two things that you put the lesser of the two evil. And I really believe I was just I have a seat until it's time for me to reappoint in another seat, and I know what the seat is going to be, and it's only going to take a matter of time, and before you know it, and this is what it can be. I really don't believe that this wasn't thought of years ago. By the time you decide we done got who's the next 2 or 3, 4 other presidents in mind already.
Go ahead, theory, and then we close.
Zico, you're on to something, right? I'm gonna share something with you. I've been telling persons, I told persons from we said 2022 that Charles Blackman is gonna be a minister in Parliament, right? If you didn't know, I used to be one of the young socialists, so it was exposed to certain things. That was planned from 2020. So what you're seeing now with Charles Blackman was planned every since. I said that to say this, so you're not wrong. I don't know about Mr. Bossick, but you know about that for sure. That's 1. 2, no. So you can tell me if you're in agreement with me or not. I believe that the president should not be a ceremonial president. I believe that the president should be a person, one, that is selected by the people of Barbados, but should be, how to put it, should be placed under certain stipulations and restrictions pertaining to who can be president. This is what I'm going to say. That person, if their family were politically aligned, there should be some sort of committee that shows, and if it's a committee me out to the community and governance, we went through that through the show, that can show that this person is not politically aligned. The president should come out to the persons from the community councils across the island. I know previous episode, you could go back and see where he spoke about the community governments. If you want me to go over it, you can go over it. That's 1. Once that person is then selected, then there should be a body under them. I call it the guardianship. You could call it whatever you want. Those persons, they will have a guardian of education, guardian of energy, etc., that will hold any government BRD accountable. The president term should be 6 terms. This is where it should be 6 terms. Because if a government is 5, then the president has a transition year. So if the BLP put in the cybercrime bill, me use a better bill. If the BLP put in a bill whereby it says that we're going to take away certain concessions to youth groups, and then the DLP doesn't want to put it back in, the president should have something called the presidential fund that they can say, listen, this is too essential. We are going to put that back because it's necessary, not because of the government. Case in point, when the DLP took away the UB fees, the president should have that capacity. Another thing, I believe that the president should have referendum power. So if like how Marcia and the loyal opposition been marching for the cybercrime bill and the wiretapping bill, we should be able to come to the president and say, we have this much petitions, this much citizens, right? We have this much petitions, we have this much information. Then no, the bill is paused, so that there's a national referendum, and then we could decide, okay, we don't have this bill, we have that bill. That is the power of the president. Another thing I do not like, right, that estimates or this back and forth, or is this back and forth between B and D, where if B is the government, then D is asked questions. I do not like it. I believe there should be an independent body pulled from the same guardianship to ask the questions to the government independent. The guardianship should also be able to come and investigate corruption. Make sure the guardianship and the opposition to investigate corruption or the government and hold anybody who is a minister, etc., accountable. So if there is proof that you were corrupt, a letter will be sent to the prime minister, but you will be placed on a restriction until your hearing, because everyone has the right to be heard. That is the type of presidency they want to see in Barbados. That is the type of Barbados they want to see, the type of republic they want to see. So it's not that I am just accepting whatever. It's just that I know where you and I, Dawn, can't remember her name right now, Janine, help me, Marcia, the other young lady, can't remember her name already.
Shakwani.
Right, all the rest, all of us, we are going to get the country there. But the see thing is about it, right? That's why we always say, watch the spook out the door. Wait your turn, then we can come and we can get there. But for now, I think Jeffrey Boss is the best option. That's what I have to say.
Okay. Well, I did say that was it. Zico, you have a final word just to close off the show for us tonight. Anything you want to say to the viewers before we go? I'm going to give you that final word, so think about it. Zico, something that you want to inspire the people with. I want to say to everybody, thank you all for joining tonight and watching the Marcia Weekes Show. We do not take your viewership for granted. Tonight, we hope you experience Emma, which is education, motivation, mobilization, and agitation. That's that little girl that we talk about. We love Emma. Emma is a girl we love. We educate, we mobilize, we motivate, and we agitate. Thank you for joining us tonight. We want to encourage you to begin to plan for September 27th. We have the big truck again. Come on, we have more noise to make. We got to make some more noise. Wear your t-shirt, get your noise maker, and let's get out and make some noise. This life integrity bill must be proclaimed into law. We are not stopping until it is done. Listen, folks, all of these bills that they want to bring in against the hotel, against the Airbnb, what they're planning with the vendors, what they're planning with all the car rentals, we need to get them pushed back. We are tired. We will not take any more. As the person said, that what they do, concessions for the rich, and then they bring taxes for the poor. And we are tired of it. We are tired. Okay? So we are getting out there on the 27th. We will hold them accountable, Barbados. Over to you, Zika.
Yes. All right, before we close, if there's anything I believe that we've learned tonight is that any great visionary has a plan for 5 to 10 years. They think long term, not short term. And everything that we were seeing today was something that was planned, was an action plan, which was probably implemented years prior. And we now see it coming to fruition. Nothing is by coincidence. Nothing is random. And I think the more that we see it on anytime you want to know how far you're going to look back, just look back. The same how we look back today, we saw that they were talking about the integrity bill. And we look forward to say, well, okay, this was just a manipulation act to rally the emotions of people. They always say a society who is easily offended is easily manipulated. And we need to stop allowing our ears to be exercised to a place where we believe that everything we hear is what it's going to be. We need to start looking at the actions of people. Nothing is coincidence. Do not let nobody trick you and make you believe that this randomly starting in the office yesterday and come up with this particular situation today. I am not paranoid. I am vigilant. I am not easily fooled. I am alert. And I would advise every single Bajan to just please pay attention. Don't get caught up in B, D, C, or E. Look at the direction of Barbados is headed. Look at the direction of Barbados. Look at the solutions that we are looking to implement. And if it's not solutions that is practical and impactful for Barbados, don't be distracted with the foolishness. Don't be distracted by the tint and all these other things that is to swear you want to distract you from the real matters at hand. Do look, pay attention. Look at timelines. Look at what's happening. Look at seasons. Look at. Just look. Just pay attention, people. Just pay attention. But that's it for me.
Yes. Everybody's saying it's a great show. Guys, it really was. I really enjoyed it. I really did. Thank you all. And I hope that I can book you again for next Wednesday, become our young people time. We're going to get some more, and change it up a bit. I know I see theory already start thinking, but we'll keep it youthful. Bring more of your friends and let us have this conversation. This is our Barbados. It's your Barbados. God bless you all. Thank you, Dave. God bless you.
Oh, yeah. Aye, aye, aye. Oh, yeah. Aye, aye, aye. Walaka. Can't drive on the road at night, cause you come with your lights so bright, like you want blind me for spite. It is overbearing. Me and you never had no war. Why you spot the light on me for? Is it accidental or you just someone caring? Every day you go here complaining all the things that ain't going right. From now on I will be explaining which place you could spot the light. Spot the light in the parliament and see who is looking out for you or barely fooling we. Spot the light, the right places and find out who is on the people's side and who's selling out. Don't put it on me, you joke. I don't be at no port when guns coming in. I am sure cowboys and Indians, no, don't put it on me, you idiot. When taxpayers' money waste, don't put it in my face. You better spot the light man who run the place. I don't run the government. I know if the computer, don't spot it on me, Bozy. Spot the light man the DLP. Oh yeah, yeah. Aye, aye, aye. Balaka. Blinding you with the LEDs. Them that are doing as the please. And then tell the authorities I feel violated. Go spot them in the treasury. Then you will see if the economy living off borrowed money that IMF dictated. Light is a great disinfectant. Use it, don't abuse it at night. Cause all that hide in the darkness must come out in the light. Spot the light in the board meetings and see who is representing you, or the rich minority. I want you spot the light in the right places and find out who is standing up for you, or just running them out. Don't spot it on me, no way. I don't have any clout, no power, no say, but hey, and I ain't got no land to give away. Don't spot it on me, you idiot. One fired, another one quick, don't target me one bit. You better spot the light on the cabinet. I may drive and get annoyed. Check my front and touch a boy. Don't spot it on me, you insane. You spot the light in the wrong lane. Aye, aye, aye. Aye, aye, aye. Balaka. When you see me on the road at night, make sure that you dim your light. I give you valuable insight. Time for activation. Aim the light, aim it all about. Demon cockroaches running out. Places you will never dream about. Need illumination. Wickedness reside in high places. Time for you to make wrong things right. Corruption is hiding in dark spaces. In Barbados, let there be light. Spot the light on the police, you can choose. Some are real professional, some protect the shoes. Spot the light in the courtrooms and find out why them hardened criminals out here walking about. Don't spot it on me, you're free. I can't give a big speech, I've got the whole world, so I'm based. All now I still getting praise. Don't spot it on me, you're free. I ain't looking at George Street, I know who get cussed or beat. Spot the light out in Robert Street. I never tried to meet with Trump or get some fed up man to jam. Don't spot it on me, you're good. Spot the light in the Lara Port. Crime out here getting worse. Spot the light on the AG first. I ain't laughing out none. Spot the light on the Kaisonian. Admiral might agree. Spot the light by my friend Gabby. I know what's good for my health. Spot the light by your blinking self.